Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
Bet-David.
My handshake is better than anything I ever signed. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about it.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Listen, if you're Canadian, I want to give you a warning. It's going to be tough today. It's going to be tough today because I don't know what's going on with your politics in Canada. You're the #2 country in the world that watches a podcast. It is what it is. Today, the opening story, you're going to need to do earmuffs because of the stuff your politicians stand for. But aside from that, we got a lot of things to cover. Apparently, Tiger Woods, Tom is talking about how if they come out and you maybe didn't come up as having alcohol in your body, and it's something else. In the state of Florida, Florida can say, what were you taking? What else was in your body, and was it prescribed? Did you buy it from somebody else? So Tom's got some thoughts on that. I don't know why he's picking on Tiger Woods. I told him don't do it, but he says, no, we got to cover it.
Doesn't care.
Yeah, he does. Even a guy that at the table, probably no one golfs more than Tom does.
Tom has grass on him right now from swinging this morning.
Yeah, and then New York Times had a story.
And some Bob Marley CDs.
Right, and then Vinny's got something about a New York Times story that came out about the fact that Rubio was in there, Netanyahu comes in with Mossad on the screen, talking about these are 4 things that we need to do. Rubio says afterwards when he's meeting with Trump, that's BS, 2 out of the 4 we cannot do. So maybe we'll get into that story as well. Rob, is that, what page do we have that story on? And if we don't, just maybe send it to me. But I don't know what page that story's on. And then we have to... the First Lady, Melania Trump, got up and spoke about her relationship with Epstein, her links with Epstein, and the market is reacting, saying, why was that conversation now? So we'll definitely talk about that as well. The president did another one of his tweets, giving a shout-out to 4 people on the MAGA side that maybe they're no longer on the MAGA side, apparently the way that he put it together. And we have to react to it, and we're going to talk about that as well and give our own feedback. On that next story is U.S. fertility rate hit the lowest ever. Look, if you're watching this, I will say this every single time. If you have a choice between watching PBD podcasts or making babies, go make babies. We need to make more babies. We're not. Our fertility rate is too low. We're at 1.58, and it's getting even lower. We need to take a time out and make some babies. If you watch us today at 3 o'clock, 8 o'clock, take a break from your job and say, I got to go home. Honey, I'm coming home. Let's make another baby. We need to go make a lot of babies right now.
Patrick, the true
Tom
test
is gone.
There goes Tom.
Yeah.
Or
There goes Tom.
listen to the podcast and make babies at the same time.
Oh, that
Would
is
be
now
epic.
epic. While streaming PBD podcast. Like he says,
He's gonna
who's
say-
your favorite podcast? Who's your favorite podcast?
Oh my God,
Say it.
he's going to say, what's your point?
Viva, that's very Jeffrey Toobin of you.
Well, yeah. Well, that's a slightly different, Tom, because you can't make babies doing the tubing stuff. So
He was.
that's a tough thing to do. You can't do that, Tom. You can't do that. Anyways, okay. Aside from that, we got a few other stories. Stormy Daniels, lawyer. You guys remember Michael Avenatti that was supposed to be our president?
Of course.
Yeah.
Guy's got more stuff that's coming his way. That, by the way, do you know, I don't mean to be disrespectful at all. Yesterday, we all realized Ralph Nader is still alive.
Is he real? How old is Ralph Nader?
Well, I had no.
You mean
Was
Ralph
he 94, 92 or
Guys,
something?
I'm not even kidding with you because a story
Oh, good
comes
for
out
him.
saying Ralph Nader urges Bush and Obama to impeach Trump. I thought it was an Onion or a Babylon Bee story, but Ralph
real.
Nader is still alive.
How
The
old is he?
man is 92 years old.
Dude.
Ralph Nader, I think one time was on Phil Donahue. He's alive. Obviously, you know, he's not going to be a supporter of what's going on here. Went from the Democratic Party to the Green Party to the Independent Party. He is criticizing Trump. He wants Trump to be impeached, and George Clooney called him a war criminal. Gavin Newsom comes out and says, I'm glad we're exposing fraud in our state. And is now taking, you know, credit as if he did it, you know, with Nick Shirley's work. No, I'm the one that's exposing fraud in our state. However, we need more money for this, you know, train that we're building. The 120-some billion wasn't enough, Eva, so we need more money. You got to go fundraise for us and raise more money. Putin advisors call Strait of Hormuz Iran's nuclear weapon, okay? Its potential is inexhaustible. So they're hanging on to the Strait of Hormuz in their negotiation on how much power that's giving them against the world. If you're traveling with Delta, they raised the check fee back up to $50, and apparently the third back for people like Tom who travel with their golf bag. We take our pedal stuff when we travel. Vinny, that's our third bag when we travel.
Of course.
The third bag is up to $220 with Delta. Tom's not happy.
Just hide your pedal paddles in my golf clubs. I'll pay.
Okay.
That's exactly.
Cool.
You know what? You are so generous. So we're going to be doing that. Oil plunges to, I don't know where it's at right now. I don't know if I like the word plunges, but oil plunges to 97 right now, 97, 99, roughly 98. And then we have a story with the Charlotte Light real murder suspect ruled incompetent to stand in trial. You don't even know what ideas I have with this guy of what to do. This is the story with Athena in North Texas, right? Is this the one with...
Two different ones. Athena, North Texas is the guy who's...
The FedEx driver.
This is the one with
Iryna
Iryna
Zarutska.
Rush.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about both of them.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk about both of them. The one in North Texas absolutely drives me insane. One of them is nastier than the other one, but we have to address both because these types of people need the type of punishment that puts the fear of not death, because some people don't fear death. It's got to be a different kind of a fear you put into them. I don't know if some people fear death. I think there's got to be something worse than, what is worse than death? If you have nothing to live for and you have no father, no mother, you get to a point that you're willing to kill an innocent person like this on a train, or a 7-year-old kid that you came to deliver a Barbie to, and you say, come in the back of the FedEx truck and you're an independent driver. This is, independent contractor for FedEx. This is November of 2022. And we're just supposed to say, I heard a voice in my head named Zero, you were telling me earlier, telling me to do this. Stop watching Primal Fear. This is real life. This isn't about, hey, somebody told me to do this. No, we have to make an example at the highest level. My opinion on what we need to do to them. And then we got that one. We may talk about Swalwell with some of the stuff that he's doing. And John Daly reveals to the Kelsey brothers how he would have lived his life differently if he knew he would have lived this long. So now maybe you're listening to that saying, what he's saying is he would have been a Christian man, or he would have been a, responsible man, not drinking or smoking. He's actually saying the complete opposite, that he would have partied even harder if he knew he was going to live this long. And then a couple other business stories that we'll get into here that we have to address. By the way, just so you guys know, when it comes down to voter ID, it's a lot of work. We're not competent enough to get them. But God forbid, if you go to the Obama Center, you better bring an ID. Now, I'm telling you right now, if you don't bring your ID to Obama Center, they're not going to let you in. But who needs an ID to vote, Vinny?
What?
You need an ID to get into Obama Center, but not to vote. What's more important?
You're racist.
You get your priorities straight.
So Obama's going to keep people of color out of his own library because it's racist
He's
to
racist.
require ID. No.
It's
Jim Crow 2.0.
I thought they
Schumer.
said some of those people did not have certain capabilities to go figure out how to get an ID.
Yeah,
well, I guess he wants to keep the library like Martha's Vineyard, so he wants to make sure
maybe.
he controls who accesses it.
We need to get that thing, the drum. We need to get one of those that I click and that sound is made. By the way, Fetterman breaks with Democrats, says Trump's military strikes in Iran have made the world safer, is what he said. Last night we had a Bet-David consulting event. It was a phenomenal offsite event. Shout out to Kareem, to Taylor, to the crew. Really, really good job. Mario, Aaron, the whole crew. It was a fantastic meeting that we had. Yeah, Tom, I'm intentionally not giving certain names that you're giving because I'm controlling the edification, and Tom wants to tell everybody how great they're doing. But it's Kareem, not Dalton. Kareem was the MVP in the first quarter. Dalton, Tom just publicly called you out for what he did. Why would you do that, Tom? Now you're embarrassing Dalton. Do you see what Tom does sometimes? Wanting to edify everybody. But we had a great meeting together yesterday with the business. And while we're there, we're in this room at Casa D'Angelo, which the rumors are, people think we own this place. We don't own the place.
What?
Angelo owns the place. No, we don't own the
that's
place.
true.
We just contribute to the restaurant. It's a great restaurant.
Great contributor.
And we're sitting there. It's about 25 of us. And it went from business to what do you think about the ceasefire? What do you think about the war? What do you think about? It was the best conversation. Some of the commentary I'll share with the guys that we're talking about here. And it's great to have Viva here with us. But I got some good news. Here's the good news to give all of you guys. Do you remember when I said to you about a month and a half ago, we have thousands and thousands of orders that we got to catch up to? Do you remember that? With the shoes, with the hats, with the shirts, with the sweaters, with the wallets, with everything that we have. 100% of all the orders have officially been caught up. When I tell you thousands of orders, I mean thousands of orders, but that means tens of thousands of items that were being shipped out that officially are in the hands of everybody. And so today, after what took place, the first launch that we're doing to say that the store is back open, kind of like Tom Cruise said in Cocktails. The bar is open, right? The store is officially open, and we're launching it. We are launching it with a brand spanking new. You know how the limited, I'm telling you right now, every time I do this, people get pissed off. A limited edition 250-year anniversary, 1 out of 250 hat is being launched, and you know this is going to go out in no time. It may be the sickest design out of all of them thus far when you see it. A lot of people, this is their favorites. Rob, go ahead and play this clip of the latest Future Looks Bright 250-year anniversary edition.
Celebrate 250 years of bold decisions. The America 250 hat by Valuetainment is built for those who move first. Premium olive green suede panels, structured tail front,
Sick.
molded rubber Future Looks Bright emblem, precision embroidery, American flag detail, and it's limited to just 250 pieces. Because progress always begins with risk, and momentum begins when you move. A tribute to the builders who moved before certainty, and the ones still moving forward today. The future looks bright at 250.
There you go. So go to VTmerch.com, Rob, if you want to go to VTmerch.com real quick. And while you're getting the hat, make sure to also get the shirts that go with it, or the sweater go a little bit lower. There's also those with the white and green. You have different choices to go with that on the 250. And for some of you that are watching this after 30 minutes, because this hat's going to sell in 30 minutes. If you do watch it after 30 minutes, this one's not going to last a long time. So if you didn't get this and you're upset, Rob, if you want to go back one, this other one we've sold thousands of, and people love this. This is not numbered. This is there's quite a few of these left of the black and the white. Every time we order these go as well. You can order these, but the green ones, they're absolutely limited to 250. Be sure to place your order and represent the fact that you're proud of the 250 years, as well as Future Looks Bright. And by the way, the numbered ones always end up on eBay. Some of you guys weren't able to get it, but you still want it. An independent salesperson is probably going to be selling it on eBay, where you can go find it. And those sell for a lot more than the price that we have right now for the limited edition. Okay, having said that, let's get right into it. What is the first story that we want to get into? Do we want to start off with Gavin Newsom wanting to take credit for fraud?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that, Rob? So here's Gavin Newsom campaigning to be the president of the United States, who I truly believe when Michelle Obama spoke, Obama's rating would go higher, because Michelle Obama was a great speaker.
100%.
She knew how to win the Democrats over. I am telling you, this guy's Achilles heel is his wife.
Yep.
Every time Jennifer Newsom speaks, you're more worried about him becoming the president. And by the way, I know we were going to go into Canada, but let's do Newsom and then we go into Canada.
Fine.
So he comes out. Nick Shirley's obviously going into California, and he's exposing the fraud in California one by one as he's doing this. And you can go to Nick Shirley, one of his recent videos. Post this one right here. Let's stay on this. So Gavin Newsom says California is leading the charge against a large-scale identity theft and hospice fraud. Today, we're taking decisive action against 14 providers who tried using stolen identities to bill Medi-Cal for non-existent hospice services. Oh, wow. We're going to get them, Viva. We are going to get them, right? Shirley responds and says, you tried to paint me as a pervert for exposing fraud. And as a result, radical leftists started to try to dox me and send death threats wanting to kill me. Now you're taking credit for leading the charge on the fraud? Are you serious? You are the fraud.
I love
Nick
this.
Shirley, you are the flipping man. By the way, if you're watching this and you love how Nick Shirley goes after Newsom, you can connect Nick Shirley. We're going to put his handle below for you guys to connect him, and it actually gets back to 100% of people that message him. That's one way to stay in contact with the young man, and it's a second way to also support him for what Nick Shirley is doing. Is this one of the clips that we have?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Viva, why don't you say a couple thoughts, and then I'm going to get into Nick Shirley.
Well, it's an amazing thing. Tom McDonald, in one of his songs, had the lyrics, they kill you, and then they broadcast it and make it the news. Gavin Newsom created the fraud that he's now going to combat.
Yep.
So he's created the problem, and he's going to make himself the solution to solve the problem that he created. I mean, it's exactly what they've done with the homeless crisis. The worse it gets, the more work they create for themselves to solve the problem of their own making.
But it's effective. It's effective with their own audience.
It's how government works,
Yeah.
and it does. Like, it's exactly what Tim Walz has done in Minnesota. Like, oh, look at the scale of the fraud here. We're tackling it. We've arrested a number of people that have committed crimes under our government.
So now watch Nick Shirley here. Go for it, Rob.
Now we are here outside of Healthy Life Adult daycare. This place, over the past few years, has billed $19.8 million alone. Now let's go see if I can enroll my grandma, because she needs some daycare. And this right here is the entrance of a building that's received over $19 million. So this is the location that's received over $19 million. Kind of crazy, right? They say that right here, right now we're here at 1:30. No adults are here. I wouldn't doubt that adults do come, but $19 million.
Got a nice pool table there.
Korea, it's like everything's set up, but there's no people. It's like for a show almost.
No, nobody's here already. You have to come back tomorrow.
And could we get like a brochure to enroll our grandma into this location?
I don't have anything.
Huh.
Can anyone give us a brochure?
Look, they know who he is. Look at her, she knows.
Does somebody has information about
They're panicking, bro.
Don't think it's enough to say it's fraudulent, because you do see that it is operating. There were people working inside there. But the fact that there's just businesses like these popping around everywhere, and this is what they look like outside of a location that receives $19 million over the past few years, yet the building looks completely almost dismantled out here. And look, all they have to say that they are an adult day healthcare is that sign that says ADHC. And there was some people working inside of it. We have the phone number right here. Darren's gonna go ahead and give a phone call and see if somebody from inside answers. There are people inside right now. The phone's just ringing.
You can leave a message after the tone. This mailbox is full.
There you have it. They don't even have an inbox available to take in a voicemail. And another thing to take note
Let me hear the last part. What's he saying?
of is Gavin Newsom right now on Poly Market. He is the leading nominee for the Democrats come 2028. All this fraud's taking place, all this waste is taking place.
We can pause that
Nobody
right there.
really knows.
Vinny, your thoughts, Vinny?
I mean, it's funny how, just take a step back, you haven't heard anything from anybody from Minnesota, from Ilhan Omar, from Governor Walz. Remember, they're the loudest, they're the biggest crap talkers about everything. But now when there's hundreds of billions of million, whatever, dollars involved, everybody's quiet. And this is, by the way, this is the tip of the iceberg, Pan. I know you're going to play the video of her after. If we're going to be honest, like, I don't think this is incompetence. I think it's a whole system built on fraud, and everybody gets paid. The bureaucrats, the consultants, the contractors, the political, everybody is getting paid. And for people to even think that the governor of this state doesn't know is BS, okay? He's exposing this. We're going to talk about the high-speed rail also. When we're talking about these billions and billions of dollars, let's think about this. When financial crimes like this happen, Pat, what happened to Bernie Madoff? How much time did he get in prison? 150 years. Alan Stanford got 110 years. And the country has no problem giving life sentences to these people who stole from other people. When is the accountability going to come for people like this? And people like, it's almost like a joking thing. When you see those memes of Gavin Newsom, #1 poverty, #1 tax, #1. And he still has the gall to go in front of a camera. I'm just curious when, and I get investigations are launching, Republicans have to launch, write letters, send you to Congress, refer you to this. When is anything actually going to come up from this?
I think it is, because, Rob, if you want to go to Rob Bonta from California Attorney General, announces major hospice fraud bust in L.A. County worth $267 million. Go ahead, Rob.
We're here today to announce the results of a massive hospice fraud bust in Los Angeles County, and it's called Operation Skip
He blow dries
Trace.
for sure.
Operation Skip Trace
Operation Skip
and
what?
ended a massive hospice fraud bust in Los Angeles County, and it's called Operation Skip Trace. Operation Skip Trace uncovered and ended a hospice fraud scheme that defrauded Medi-Cal of $267 million. So just to be clear, $250 million. Over. Funds that are paid for by California taxpayers, funds that are meant to provide care to Californians in need. It is unacceptable. It is illegal, and we will not.
I agree, but you know what pisses me off?
What's that?
#1, people like Chris Cuomo, and I hope he hears this, say that people like Nick Shirley are not real investigative journalists and blah, 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 and nothing's going to happen. #1. #2, this is a response because they're being exposed. Your system in California should have done this Years ago. How long has this been going on for? But this isn't an overnight thing that Nick Shirley just stumbled upon. This has been going on forever, and he's just, and God bless him, bouncing around from city to city, finding it and exposing it, okay? This is a response because now they have to say, oh, we're going to start arresting people. If it wasn't for Nick Shirley, this would have kept going on, and nothing ever would have come out about
Just
it.
remember, you need to call it election year response. So go on. But you're right.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right. It's an election year response so that when he's cornered, when he's in a primary, wherever he is, he can say, what are you talking about? The California Attorney General found $250 million in fraud under my watch. We immediately lost our own investigation, and we did it better because it's in our jurisdiction. You just wait for it to hear. The part that I want to see, and you're asking the right question, what I want to see is where do they track the checks that come back to the campaigns?
Bingo.
Because they did in Minnesota. All the allegations, excuse me, they allegedly did in Minnesota, and they were pointing back to how the money went offshore to bad people, right, in foreign countries, and as well come back to PACs. Now, here the PAC system, and David, I'd love to know what you think about this, that creates the veil. Because you know what? There are a lot of PACs that are supporting me and all the other down ballot tickets. I didn't know where that money came from. It's the PACs. So now the candidates and their campaign managers can say, oh, I didn't know, but the money was flowing right back to the PAC and therefore back to the campaign. I think once we get to the bottom of it in Minnesota, it's going to show up that that's where it is. And I think it's no different in California.
Can I say one thing before, Dave, you speak? Pat, you're a CEO of a company, okay? I think Gavin Newsom technically is the CEO of California. Do you think he doesn't know hundreds of billions of dollars? Pat, he doesn't know? Do you think?
Of course.
Okay.
No, and the more they spend, the better it is for them. Look how much we're giving for adult day health care. I mean, ADHD, it's amazing. What's funny also is Bonta, if I recalled correctly, had his own scandals of allegedly misappropriating or spending campaign funds, $500,000 on legal fees. These people are all systemically corrupt, and then they look into their own corruption only when it gets exposed, pretend to do something, and then people forget that it ever happened. Minnesota was interesting. Remember when all the ICE stuff was going down, the riots and the protests, and then everyone's like, why is Minnesota uniquely different than everywhere else where ICE is, going and taking people out? It was a pure distraction, or I say organically, to distract from the corruption in Minnesota. And so they use that crisis to distract from it. All of a sudden, nobody's talking about the billions of dollars in Minnesota fraud. They're talking about, the incidents at
a nurse that got himself shot.
A nurse that got himself shot. And in California now, all right, fine. It's come to the fore. You got Nick Shirley going there. And so now they're going to pretend to do something about it. And I wouldn't be surprised if something does happen that's going to distract people from this massive fraud.
Adam.
Well, shout out to Nick Shirley. I mean, think about what this kid's done on his resume. When's the first time you even heard of Nick Shirley? Less than a year ago? I remember I met Nick Shirley I met Nick Shirley at James O'Keefe's event, and he won the Citizen Journalism event award. And I was like, dude, you're killing it. This is 6 months ago. And we've kept in touch, and I see what's going on. Think about this kid's resume right now. Shows up to Minnesota, not the FBI, not the CIA, not the Department of Justice. Nick Shirley with a camera and his boy David and the Leering Center. A month later, Tim Walz basically says, I'm not running for re-election.
Good.
Took down the governor of Minnesota.
Good.
Now he has his eyes set on California. The big question is he going to do enough to take down Gavin Newsom? Because Gavin Newsom is not Tim Walz. Tim Walz, by the way, he showed up out of nowhere. All this money, fraud, Minnesota, we're going to see what happens there. And all of a sudden, he's the potential vice president of the United States.
You know why? Because that money.
Kamala, money, bingo, bango.
He donated, what, $28 million, Tom? Day 3 of getting.
The thing with Gavin
Newsom.
Newsom.
The split DNC didn't want to give money to Kamala, so she had to go find a bag.
Weird.
And she found it.
She found the bag. That's true. Yeah. So the question is this. The manufactured crisis that Gavin Newsom just tried to pull off, basically, he's created the problem or basically turned the blind eye to the problem. And now he's like, I fixed it, guys. It's like, you're the arsonist who burnt down the house, and now you show up with a hose. And here's the catch. People are going to believe him. He's the most skilled politician in America. And I'll tell you why. What has he done for California other than look good with great hair? Shout out to you guys with great hair on the podcast. I'm not voting for you because you have great hair. What are your policies? What have you done to effectuate change? I don't know what Gavin Newsom's done other than he talks the talk, but he doesn't walk the walk.
Well, let me tell you this while we're going through this to all my Canadian friends. Let me start off right off the bat that you're amazing. Your coconut beer is great. You guys have some great places to go visit. Toronto, Shout out to Goodfellas Restaurant with the incredible burrata cheese and balsamic glaze and the pizza that you guys have. To Banff, whether you go to Lake Louise or if you go to, what's the other, Chateau Fairmont Hotel, you know, where you're going into the city and you see big animals, like as if it's nothing just walking by. Sometimes you go to a city, you see a little cat, boom, see a big-ass moose in Canada. Having said that, your politics is crazy. Crazy. I saw this video, I'm like, this has to be AI. You guys know which one I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm like, so we had to, back in the days, it was gays and lesbians.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
And then this thing became like the LGBTQ, and then it became this LGBTQIA, whatever.
Plus.
And then Canada has taken it to, she said it so fast as if it's a vocabulary, like you need to know what this is. So I want you.
But by the way, look at how happy she is with herself that she said it without stumbling. She's like, she passed the test.
She's so proud of herself.
You know
Watch
it. You know
so this, she says the MMIWG2SLGBTQQIA plus is a Canadian acronym representing missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirit. What is two-spirit? Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, and asexual people used in official Canadian reports. And 15, it highlights the disproportionate violence against Indigenous, especially the 2SLGBTQIA plus people. I mean, who the hell is supposed to remember this?
So, Pat,
let her say this. I'm going to come to you. Let her say it.
Leah Gazan is her name.
Okay, go ahead.
When the budget was released, I was shocked to find out that Prime Minister Carney is cutting $7 billion between Indigenous Services Canada and Crown Indigenous Relations. They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIWG2SLGBTQIA+. This is abhorrent.
One more time.
This
just
is
that
callous.
part. I just want to hear that part. Go ahead.
They provided $0 to deal with the ongoing genocide of MMIWG2SLGBTQIA+.
She wasn't even reading.
This is abhorrent. This is callous. This is callous because the very Liberal government that has stripped organizations of life-sustaining funding has now promised,
you can stop
committed.
Right there. Genocide. Wow.
Genocide.
Genocide.
But
Viva.
Patrick, you know the story? They did a report that concluded that there's genocide against Indigenous Canadians, or Indigenous is the Canadian word for Native Canadians, right? Indian Canadians. The genocide consists of there's statistically high rates of murder, sexual abuse of Indigenous women, particularly on reservations by Indigenous men. This is the issue. I don't know what percentage, if it's 70, 80%. The vast majority of crime against Indigenous women, murder, rape, sexual abuse, all the stuff, is done by Indigenous men. The way they conclude that it's genocide perpetrated by white European, founders of the country is that they've created living conditions that are so bad for the Indigenous who insist on living on reservations themselves that they're prone to violence, and therefore it's the white European Canadians' fault for Indigenous men disproportionately committing violence against Indigenous women. That's how they get to genocide.
That's correct. You can't follow the logic. You cannot follow the logic at all. You know, because the Indigenous people in Canada, there's a lot of proud, wonderful people and everything. They want their own county. They want their own states. They want their own place. They want to be together with their own people. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, people that want to live with their own people. You know, when people assimilated in New York, all the Italians lived in one area of New York. All the Irish lived in one area of Boston. That's not a bad thing. But now you turn around and blame people and says, well, you created our borders. No, we didn't. Come on.
I mean, with all due respect, Canada is just proving how unserious they are as a nation. Daniel Negreanu, I know you guys know, the poker player, he tweeted, and I had to respond, and Rob, I'm going to go to you. He goes, I'm really not trying to be mean or rude here, but how did we get here? And I posted this. I go, this is exactly how you got here. Justin Trudeau was out in these streets celebrating and pushing this thing where, with all the stuff that's happening in the world, like, and I'm being dead serious, besides the war and the homelessness and all the problems that they have, this is what's on your front. That's what's on your radar. That's what you're worrying about. And this lady, by the way, Pat, she's a Canadian member of Parliament for the New Democratic Party. This isn't like just some rinky-dink chick that they found off the street and did it. This is the ideology. This is Canada. It's embedded in their DNA.
It's institutionalized insanity. Like, you have Justin Trudeau, going to these pride parades. You have CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. I don't know if you guys have seen this video, but it was CBC Drag Hour, and they had two kids come on. This was a CBC News curated piece where they had a drag queen bringing on a child, and the child's like, yeah, I feel a little uncomfortable. And it's like, don't worry, you'll get used to it. Have you ever met a drag queen before? Because the person was French. I mean, it's institutionalized, and it's to the point where now, you know, the insanity is rewarded in Canada, and the sanity is demonized. And people who say this is not just about gender identity.
This thing right here.
That was. Oh, play this one. This one's insane. This one's older. You can tell by the face masks. This was sort of COVID era.
We will not let fear win. A world without trans people has never existed. A world without drag has never existed, and it never will.
Work it,
People
girl.
have always been here amongst us.
Stop it right there, Adam.
Unless she's the 2SLGBTQIQ plus.
Yeah, that was before they added the Q and the MMIW.
Can we just?
They don't have hats. It doesn't fit. They only have T-shirts.
Well, can we just address the fact that she's saying that there's a genocide happening where people are murdering and killing trans people, LGBT? It's false from beginning to end. You know who's doing mass shootings? And it's the LGBTQ community that are on all these hormone adjusting, whatever the hell you call it. They're the one. The majority of the past mass shooters in this country are people in that community. And she has the audacity to come out and say that they're the ones being targeted.
But also the violence in that community is, you know, call it trans on trans. It is, generally speaking, the victims of trans violence are people who live in that community.
Of course,
it's not straight white dudes that are going in there looking to assault trans people.
No, it's unbelievable, bro.
Rob, what kind of a poll did you just run? Rob ran a poll. It says, how do you identify heterosexual, homosexual, non-binary, they, them, he, she, or MMIWGS2? And by the way, 11% of our audience says they're with MMI.
Yeah. It's a troll. They're trolling.
It's got to be the protest. It's just a
by the way,
protest
that
vote.
tells you how funny the audience is. You guys are funny. Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, as a local MMI, GWDB, LGBT, let me just speak for a second. By the way, the
knew
fact
it.
that she casually dropped, I've never even heard this term before, MMIWGT, LGBTQIA. When you casually say something that's so completely out of the ordinary, like I remember a couple days ago, Pat's like, yeah, so Trump called me the other day. We're like, what? Just casually dropped it.
Yeah.
So that's where it perplexes people. I remember my buddy, the basketball player Kelly Olynyk, he's like, oh, what's for lunch today? By the way, I just signed a $60 million deal. I go, what? You're focused on lunch?
Yeah.
You just signed an NBA contract, $60 million. You're focused on sushi? It throws you off. And that's what happened here. It's like, I don't even see this coming. The fact that she, what do you say, casually dropped it as if, no big deal.
MMIW, murdered missing Indigenous women, the 2S, the two-spirit. What's amazing, though, is... now I just totally forgot the
It's
thought.
okay,
It's going to come in a second.
Pat brought up the point. I remember when it just used to be, hey, let's treat gay people with respect. Okay, cool. Hey, gay people can get married. Lesbians. And then this T thing showed up. And then when the T opened the door, all the other letters in the alphabet are like, we're with you right now. But here's the fundamental point. Because I know people in Canada, and they all want to get the hell out of there. My sister's married, it's Canadian. He's grateful to live in Florida. The bigger story here is there's people out there that genuinely hate with a passion the white Christian male patriarchy. That's what this comes down to, is they're trying to basically tear down the patriarchy, and they're basically trying to institute whatever this is. So it's incumbent on normal, sensible, the 90% of our audience that doesn't identify as MMIGP to basically say, here's what's going on.
Here's a challenge.
It's a man's world. Nothing without a woman.
Here's a challenge with Canadians. The challenge with Canadians is they're too nice to liberals. They're way too nice to liberals. They're way too tolerant to liberals. They're way too, you know, like when Pierre Poilievre wasn't going, I'm like, you did not go on the Joe Rogan podcast while you needed to go. You didn't go on Nelk Boys. You didn't go on. You didn't go on Theo. You didn't go on any of these podcasts when you needed, and then you did. You're a coward when you didn't go. Now, I give him credit that he went on it. By the way, just so, we've not invited him since the first time we invited him 2 years ago. I don't have any interest for Pierre coming back down here and sitting down and talking. I wanted him to have courage when you needed to have courage. Hang on, let me finish my point. So, and Viva, I'll come to you when I want you to jump in. Just hang tight. I want to make my point here. I think Canadians need to elevate the conservatives that are being willing to be more vocal and make noise, okay? You can't just sit around and be afraid of your mainstream media and say, but you don't understand what Canada's like. But you don't understand what Canada's like. I love it when I first came, we opened up an office in Florida, and I came to the office and everybody was late, and everybody would say to me, But Pat, this is people are on Miami time. You don't understand what people are like. You know, people in Miami don't show up on time like people in LA. I said, it's bullshit. You know, you made yourself believe that I'm supposed to accept your standards. I'm not going to accept your standards. It's not your standards. I said, you think the people that are winning, like we had a meeting yesterday when, you know what Taylor said? You know what Taylor said that was so powerful? Taylor yesterday in a meeting that everybody's training, everybody's having their own opportunities. Guys are doing very well. Our consulting firm had an explosive Q1, the biggest growth we've ever had in the history of the company in any quarter. It was the biggest quarter in the history of the company times 2. Amazing. Insane on what happened on Q1. But she said, she's been working with us for 4.5 years. Look what she said. The most intimidating thing Taylor said yesterday was the following. She says, do you know for the last 4.5 years, I've never come to the office once after 8 o'clock. I've never once come to the office after 8 o'clock. What does that mean? She's always here at 7 o'clock, 7:15, 7:30, 7:20, 7:45. Do you know how intimidating that is when you say something like that to people that are even more educated than you, more talented than you, smarter than you? You've never been here after 8? Never. I'm always before 8. Go ahead and compete. How are you going to compete? So it doesn't matter what, she came here from Michigan. It doesn't matter where you go. So when people tell me, but it's a Canadian thing, you don't understand, stop accepting that as the truth that they want to convince you to do. You have to fight back with that, or else you're going to get stuff like this that your kids are going to be fed every day. And you're going to have to say, my kid went to school and on the quiz, my son came home and he had to learn what the MMIW, whatever stuff is. No, I don't want, no, we're not doing that. So I think that's the challenge that Canadians are facing. Viva.
The problem is, in what you're describing, is even the conservative Canadians put up with this crap. Like, they don't have greater expectations.
That's the problem, though, Viva.
And the Canadian conservatives vote unanimously for the conversion therapy ban that basically...
Then they deserve everything they're getting.
That's the issue. And
then
then
they
Pierre...
deserve everything they're getting.
Pierre comes on, does Joe Rogan, not during the election, after he's lost it, but, you know, so far out of the next election, nobody's going to remember a damn thing. It is... Well, it's institutionalized insanity. It's institutionalized cowardice. And people tend to say, like, Canadians are polite. They're subservient. They don't mind being subservient to a greater authority, that being the government. And they get very angry at people who are not subservient to that government.
Who is the person with the biggest backbone that doesn't care? Who is the biggest conservative in Canada with the biggest backbone that'll go after everybody? Who is that? I want to know who that person is. Is it Maxime Bernier?
Well, without going to the obvious, Maxime Bernier, there's a guy named Roman Baber in the Conservative Party who was very vocal.
Can you pull up his name, Rob?
Roman Baber, yep. And then there's another one, the doctor. I'm going to forget his name right now. I'll have to check my...
Is he a heavyweight? Is Roman a heavyweight?
No, he's a new... I think he's a new inductee into the Conservative Party.
Can you go into Roman Baber, Rob, copy paste, put him in YouTube, and then go to filters and check popularity to see what's the most views he's ever gotten on YouTube? Let's just kind of check, go filter, go to popularity. Let's see how many views he's got. Yeah, he's got work to do. He's got work to do. 196 is not enough. 150 is not enough. 61 is not enough. He's got work to do. He needs to have a consulting firm, a camp that teaches him how to give messages that go viral to get a little bit more vocal, because that's not going to cut it. You need somebody that knows how to make some noise in a way where the world starts paying attention to your country and the issues that are happening. So maybe he needs, I don't know how well he speaks. You need to be able to deliver your message in a way that's disrupting some of the audience.
Let me tell you why I agree with
Danielle
you so
Smith, Premier of Alberta.
Danielle Smith, she's up there already. And the other one was Matt Strauss, who you might want to also pull up right now.
Do the same exact thing with Matt Strauss, Rob. Go on YouTube, check him out the same exact way.
You'll come with similar results, but this is the problem in Canada. This is a man also who was quite outspoken during COVID. A good man, decent conservative, but you know, politics is what it is. Everyone has to defer to the cowardice of Pierre Poilievre.
Okay, no, he's not there either. We got work to do. But listen, you know, all these guys that they're doing what they're doing, somebody needs to rise up. Your country is in a perfect position for somebody to be the hero.
You know what book everyone in Canada needs to read, and especially in the Conservatives? It's a book you always recommend. It's called No More Mr. Nice Guy. I'll tell you something. When people try to say, oh, this is my friend Adam, he's nice, I go, I'm not nice. Straight up. I'm kind. I'm not nice, though. And I go over that all the time. We've talked about this before, Vinny. Nice is different from kind. Nice, you know, you see, we talked about Minnesota. My mom's from Minnesota. I say, oh, it's a Minnesota nice. Everyone's so nice. Look at Minnesota now. It's because they didn't have kindness. They had niceness. What's the difference? Because it sounds the same, right? So nice pleases you short term, temporary. It avoids conflict. Like if your girl goes, hey, do you like my outfit? You go, of course. Does this make my butt look big? No, you look great, babe. But if your boy shows up, you've met my buddy
I thought you
Joe.
were going to say, but if your boyfriend asks.
Yeah, if your
I'm like,
boyfriend shows up.
But if your boy shows up.
Kind, you say the truth even if it hurts. And guys do this way better than women. My buddy Joe, he'll watch this. One day he shows up in an outfit. We're going to go out and he's like, what's up, man? We're going to go out tonight. I go, you're not wearing that, bro. He goes, what do you mean? I'm going to go, you have a brown shirt and brown pants. You look like a human piece of... He goes, oh, I go, go upstairs and change, dude. I'm not taking you out in Miami like this. He goes, oh, okay. Went, put on jeans, a white shirt. You look great. Now, if I was nice, I'd be walking around with a human piece of all night. And we're not getting any fun, no action. But he changed. And all of a sudden, life was good. What's my point? Guys are kind. Guys will say things even if it hurts you.
Well, not Canadian guys.
That's my point.
Guys.
That's why they
Not
need to read
Canadian
this
guys.
book. Stop being so nice, Canadians.
Yeah, let's go to the
Be
next story.
kind, not nice. Tell the truth, even if it hurts.
Let me tell you who I don't want to be nice to, kind to, or anything to, okay? Whatsoever. This guy who in North Texas, Rob, if you want to play this clip, this guy I have zero tolerance for in North Texas who is delivering a Barbie doll. He's an independent contractor for FedEx. He's a driver. While he's delivering this Barbie doll to the 7-year-old, he asked the kid to come, and this is November of 2022, if I'm not mistaken with the dates. She comes in the truck, and then nobody knows what happens. The kid disappears. Everyone's trying to find out what happens. He apparently covers the camera, okay? So nobody will see what he ends up doing to her. And now in court this week, while they had the court, during court, they played the audio. It's not public. We don't have it. But they're showing voice how the kid was fighting him, fighting for her life. And he ends up killing her. Okay? He ends up killing her. The 7-year-old kid that he was delivering a Barbie to. He ends up killing her. Then while he's going through and he says, I cannot believe, what does he say? I will not be able to see.
He said, I'm not going to be able to see. I can't believe this. I'm going to miss Christmases with my children and all that. He's trying to make them feel bad for him because he's not going to be able to see his kids ever
And then
again.
his claim is he heard what?
He heard a voice in his head named Zero that told him to do all these things and told him to kill her. And then
A voice named Zero. Now, if you guys haven't seen Primal Fear, you guys know if you or you're friends with me, you're going to watch Primal Fear with me. If you've seen Primal Fear with Edward Norton, what is the story of Primal Fear about with Richard Gere and Edward Norton?
he kills this priest because, you know, all this abuse and all
Porn
this
and
stuff.
all this stuff.
And then he acts like he's like crazy and he has multiple personality syndrome. Or what is it, Tom, where you switch? Is it?
At the end, where he asks him, well, then how did you know and how did you remember?
And he
Ed
starts
Norton
clapping.
stops and goes,
yeah.
That one was for you.
Yeah,
that was a work of art.
He acted like he had like a snap, and he played it beautifully.
And we're supposed to believe that, you know, this person deserves dignity. This person deserves, you know, dignity for what he did. The FedEx driver who abducted a 7-year-old girl driving her to death complains about how bad life is if he goes to prison. Tanner Horner abducted and killed Athena Strand while delivering a Barbie to her home in North Texas in newly released footage. Horner could be heard whining to police about how he won't be able to watch his sons grow up. Horner was heard accusing a voice in his mind named Zero of making him kill her. I'm going to miss out on all my sons' Christmases, birthdays growing up, and I'm going to miss out on everything, all because I listened to the stupid voice that isn't probably even there. Do you want to play this audio real quick on what he's saying to the cops? Go for it.
I'm going to miss out on the best part of my childhood. Okay? I can't.
Well, I don't know that I would say that. I mean,
this is one of those probation things. This is one of those I'm going away for a long time things, and I'm going to miss out all of my son's life.
That's how life works. Yeah. You're going to miss out on that. The parents of Athena are never going to see her.
I'll tell you this, Tanner. You're going to be okay.
No, I'm not.
Why do you think that?
I'm going to miss out on all my son's Christmases, his birthdays, him growing up. I'm going to miss out on everything.
Can you go to the other one, Rob, that the reports of what was said in court when...
The lawyer?
Yeah.
The prosecutor?
Yeah. Is this it or is it the other
right
one?
up. Show more.
Yep.
Show more Rob, go on to show more top. Yeah, right there. We have DNA. Not only do we have initial DNA from Athena that has Tanner Horner's, we also have Tanner Horner's DNA in places where you shouldn't find DNA on a 7-year-old girl. Okay, so here's the question. What should happen to Tanner Horner? Honestly.
What state is he in?
North Texas. What should happen to Tanner Horner?
You already know.
What should happen to him?
We need deterrence, and that needs to be severe. You know, you need your day in court. We don't arrest people on day one and take them out back and just execute them against a brick wall. But once they have their day in court and it's all things like this, and he's confessing to it, there needs to be deterrence. There needs to be absolute deterrence. And I studied what Chuck Colson, who was a Watergate co-conspirator who did time and came in and then did his life trying to serve in the prison system, Pat. And what he said was there was no longer deterrence. And the recidivation rate was because prison had become crime college. We need deterrence. And back in like 1980, there was a movie called Scared Straight. And it wasn't like straight gay. It was scared straight, like to the straight path and not to be committing crime. And it scared the hell out of young men of all colors of the realities what was going on inside prisons. And so what you found was deterrence because people were scared to death of the consequence. People are no longer scared to death of the consequence. The liberals will commute your sentences and get things. There needs to be deterrence, and there needs to be a rough outcome here. We're not barbaric, but there can be absolutely rough outcomes that cause people to think twice about it.
Patrick, you know, at the beginning you said, what do you do with people who don't have a fear of death or who don't have a fear of God? Well, the example you make out of them is not for them because they can't be cured and they can't be redeemed. It's for others. And so, you know, I'm not going back. Public hanging, I know people would say it has to be public, it has to be visceral, it has to be shocking to anybody else out there who would ever even dream of doing something so dark and sinister. I don't think we're going to get there. Life and, you know, just throw away the key or swift execution would be one thing. In this particular case, though, one of the attenuating details, because we're going to compare it to the North Carolina one, is whether or not this guy's actually crazy. By what I understood from the case, he accidentally struck the girl, and then it sounds like he panicked after he hit her with the vehicle, then put her in the vehicle, and you can now sort of understand what this guy's thinking is like, I hit this girl with my car, I'm going to lose my job, I'm going to ruin my kid's Christmas. And so then, in that moment, not a history of schizophrenia, the guy says, reacting like a dumb criminal, I'm going to kill this girl. This is how I'm going to hide my accident, keep my job, not, you know, ruin my kid's Christmas, and murder a 7-year-old girl to cover up for my initial crime. I mean, that's how I would frame this. And then he talks about a voice in his head.
You're a lawyer, no?
No, I mean, but then, you know, then he makes up a voice in his head. Well, if I plead insanity, if I look crazy, then maybe I'll get a softer deal.
Can you back up into your framing and just take me to, and we found DNA in places on a 7-year-old girl where you shouldn't find DNA.
That I don't, you know.
This is not panic because I hit her with the truck, right?
Yeah, well, this is. I mean, it's there's no attenuating it. It's just to say that this guy's not crazy.
What is the recording that they played in court? The recording that they played in court
is he tries covering up the camera, but like an idiot, doesn't realize that you're gonna still get audio, and she's fighting for her life, and he records him strangling her and doing whatever to her, and what drives me crazy is that the parents who are in the courtroom, besides everybody else, these are all the prosecutors, all the jury, the mother and father have to hear the final moments, because they have to hear it, they're in court, of their 7-year-old daughter getting potentially the R word and murdered, and that audio is going to stick with them forever. Pat, I know it's stories. Put yourself there. The hardest call I've ever had to make was calling my mother. My cousin called me and said, hey, my father passed away, a lot of details. Can you call and tell your mom? I've never been so scared to make that phone call. And Pat, to hear my mom, like I felt it, the moment was coming, and I say, Mom, are you okay? You sitting down? And when I told her, I heard a part of her soul die. I heard like, I felt her soul, a part of it die. So I can imagine what the parents are hearing, Pat. And you guys know we always talk about this, Tom. In the Bible, Matthew chapter 18, verse 6 says, if anyone causes any of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it's better for them to have a millstone hung around their neck and drowned into the deepest parts of the ocean. Okay, there's a difference between law and, you know, God, you know, what God's supposed to do. What he's supposed to do, Pat, he doesn't deserve to live. Okay, I have to pray for him. Adam, this is the hardest part we always talk about. I, Vincent Oshana, have to pray for him. The parents God bless them, have to pray for this guy's soul because he better come to Christ, Adam, because guess what? If he doesn't truly do it, he's going to be in a horrible, horrible place for eternity. And that's the truth.
He'll be there. He'll be there anyhow. But there's no redemption for certain things. You know when the last use of the guillotine was in France? What year? How recently would you think it was?
74.
77. Not bad.
Wow.
When you have an admission, when you have an admission and you there's no clear defense of mental insanity, you have a trial and then there should be some form of public execution. Period. The defense of criminal, lack of criminal insanity, which we're going to get to in the North Carolina prison, locked away for life. Period. You want to be institutionalized? That's fine if you're not criminally responsible. This death penalty.
And you know why I think the public doing it publicly, bro, for people to see it. Like when you see pedophiles, you just hear, okay, they're gonna go to jail. Hopefully the prisoners, Pat, do something. You do it publicly. You show everybody. Like in the Middle East, you steal. There's places they'll chop your hand off, bro. Theft in the Middle East is the lowest anywhere because they chop your hand off. People just hear the story of, oh, the guy's in prison. Hopefully they kill him in prison because there's no, by the way, these guys in prison are all murderers, they're killers, they're thieves. Their moral code stops right there where they go, if you harmed a child, we're going to find you and we're going to kill you and we don't care about our consequence. That should tell you everything. I think, Pat, he makes a good point. You have to show the public because let's just say does Texas have an electric chair?
Capital punishment.
Capital punishment. Nobody sees it. It's in a room. They give him nice and he goes away peacefully and that's how he goes. I think you show that to people, Pat. You pump fear in people's hearts because that's the only way you're going to let them know. You harm a freaking 7-year-old child like this, bro, it's going to be bad for you and everybody's going to see it.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
sorry, bro.
You're bringing up the Christian thing versus the Middle East, the Muslim thing. Christians, God bless you guys. You are so nice. The fact that you're able to pray for someone like this, or the fact that you guys think that this guy somehow, if he accepts Jesus, God bless, is going to end up in heaven. He murdered and allegedly raped a 7-year-old girl. That, to me, I have a really hard time grappling with. Respect to everyone's religious beliefs. This person needs to be held to the highest extent of the law. I mean, public execution would not be severe enough. This is disgusting. What is it, Hammurabi's code, eye for an eye? Everything about this person needs to be plucked out. We need to be way harder in this country on hardcore criminals and treat, light criminals, smoking weed, doing little things, way easier. I do agree that the Middle East is a lot safer because basically if you look the wrong way, they'll cut off your eye. That's a little extreme to me. I remember when people were like, the school shooters, with everything that happened, remember the thing in the Michigan? Where I said these families need to be held accountable. If your kid takes the family gun and goes out and kills a bunch of kids, I want the parents in jail. People said you can't be held accountable for something your kids do. Then what happened? Remember exactly what happened? Michigan did it. So I'm not saying I don't know what's going to happen with this guy and this family. I think we need to make crazy examples of these people. Public executions, what'd you call it? The guillotine, whatever we have to do. The sickness is part of our society and it needs to be rooted out to the extreme.
You have to make that example. I mean, you're talking about castration. You're talking about give 30 minutes in a room handcuffed with the father to get that moment with you. You're talking about, I'm talking about in any way for the next person to sit there and say, I don't ever want this. You have to humiliate this guy in front of his kids. You have to humiliate this guy in front of his kids where he realizes, oh my God, like if he's saying he's going to miss his kids' Christmas, you have to, so the next father's like, there's no way in the world I want to get this level of humiliation in front of my kids. This is disgusting when you hear stories like this. And this leads me to the next one. And Vinny and Aviva, I want to come to you guys. Charlotte light rail murder suspect ruled incompetent to stand trial as history of crazed claims trial case. Okay, page 14. And Rob, I think you got a clip on this one as well. The man accused of killing a young woman in North Carolina light train has been deemed incompetent to stand trial in a state case following a mental evaluation according to newly released court doc. Can you imagine this? He's incompetent to do that. DeCarlos Brown Jr., 34, is charged in the fatal stabbing of Ukrainian woman Iryna Zarutska, 23, while aboard a light Rail links Blue Line in Charlotte, August 22nd, 2025. This less than a year ago. However, a report stemming from Brown's time as a patient at Central Regional Hospital determined he was incapable to proceed in the upcoming state criminal trial, according to court documents obtained by Fox News. This is separate from a federal case that he is also facing stemming from alleged attack. Brown, a homeless man diagnosed with schizo, is currently in federal custody on separate charges relating to the alleged murder. Vinny, I'm coming to you first, and then Viva, I'm coming to you next.
Well, and they left out the part where he walked away and said, "I got a white girl. I got a white girl." Crazy people aren't. That's a mission that he was on to do. And mind you, Pat, he was arrested 14 times since 2007, and the crimes included assault, armed robbery, breaking and entering, firearm possession, other felony offenses. They said he got schizophrenia diagnosis. His own mother warned the courts, Tom, that he should not be on the streets. And just before killing her, he was released again on a cashless bail, and then he ran on the train, stabbed her in the neck. That's complete and total failure. If you guys remember, Jeffrey Dahmer murdered 17 people, dismembered their bodies, ate some of them, found competent for trial. I think this is complete BS, okay? So 14 times offender, Pat. This is the system. This is the system failing, and it's absolute BS. And it happens this is just one time that it's happening, and they keep blaming this insanity nonsense. You guys kept letting him get out, and this happens way too much, Pat. It happens way too much. And it's not slipping through the cracks. They don't give a damn. They don't care. How are you arrested 14 times? How? And you keep getting put on the street, and your mother says that you shouldn't be on the street, and then he does it, and it's just an excuse. It's just an excuse.
Rob, what is this? He just showed up?
This is all of his mug shots over the years, the 14 times that he's been arrested.
Are you sure that bottom left one is him?
I know this one in from the left. I'm not sure about that one, but I know the rest are.
This was the graphic that was widely circulating of all of his arrests.
Wow. So, Viva, how do you process this yourself?
Could be one of the cases where someone is legally, mentally incompetent to stand trial because they are in a state. My best friend's father growing up was a criminal lawyer, still is. He told us of one of these cases where a guy does cocaine for the first time in his life, has a total psychotic break, is dissociated from his body, goes to a random person's house and beats them to death with a crowbar. And then the argument is not that he's innocent, but that he did cocaine and that's voluntary intoxication, but that he's criminally not responsible for what happened afterwards because it was literally like being an automaton. There are limits to that defense, and he wasn't defending himself on the basis of innocence, but rather temporary insanity. In a case like this, the guy has a history of schizophrenia. It is an institutional failure. There's zero question about that. We live in a world now where you empower mental illness instead of treating it. And so they say you can't institutionalize these people because you have to respect autonomy of individuals and leave schizos who are violent and dangerous on the streets because you can't involuntarily confine them anymore. But him being found criminally incompetent to stand trial, he's not going to go free. He'll be institutionalized, hopefully for the rest of his life, because once you do something like that in a dissociative state, you are forever a risk to society. But it's not like he's going to walk free. This might be one of those cases of a systematic failure of the institutions, but a man who is clearly out of his mind and insane.
Look, you know what? California's got the 3 strikes laws, and once we determine that someone who's committing violent crimes, and look, he had a history of violent crimes. Not all of those mugshots were for violent crimes, but good Lord, let's just assume that one picture is not there. We have 13. So let's say it's not 14. Let's say it's 13. And some of those were violent. So therefore, what failed was you didn't get this guy into an institution or figure out what to do with him so he's not back out on the streets. And what the most galling part of this is it's on the liberal side, and there is a line of thought that is in liberal politics that it's not really the victim's fault. It's society's inequality and unfairness that drives people to steal, to do this, to respond, to do things like that. And therefore, we should have compassion for the criminal. I'm sorry. The state of North Carolina, or whoever's responsible for those 13 instances and run-ins with this guy, you failed. You failed. And I believe that the family has a cause against the state for gross negligence of executing. What do we execute the principles of our justice systems for? To keep the city safe for everyone else. So that the law-abiding citizens that are doing the right things, living the right lives, don't have to live in fear because we have these defective units are out there, regardless of how it happens. It happens, David, it happens permanence by the willing use of street drugs that causes permanent psychosis. It's like, okay, well, you made the choice and now you're defective and we got to do something with you, but we can't keep turning you back on the street. And it's like, we don't need, 3 strikes laws like we had in California where kids with 3, drug sales, and 2 of them were selling marijuana. We had kids in California, the 2 other 3 strikes were sale of marijuana. You step back and go, whoa, then that 3 strikes law failed. But in this case, come on.
It's the meme, like send in a social worker. That's what they would have done with an individual like this. He should have been institutionalized, and you need to bring back mental institutions to some extent because right now the prison system is the de facto mental institution.
Well, I remember there used to be insane asylums in this country. Right now there are mental health facilities. Or they're just put in jail, and then they're just, the cops have to deal with them.
By the way, if you've ever seen the old Tonight Show, and Johnny Carson would make jokes about Camarillo. The reason he made jokes about Camarillo, California, because there was an institution that was run by the state that was for these people. But in combination of budget cuts and what the liberals called, criminal justice reform, they shut them down. And so there it is, California State Mental Hospital. And part of it was incarcerated, and part of it was people that were just developmental disabilities and mental health in Camarillo. Is this on screen, Rob?
Yes.
This is when Johnny Carson would say, well, Ed, you got to be careful there. They might send you off to Camarillo. And that was Johnny Carson making jokes about this. But Camarillo was known as this place for that. And guess what? The liberals got it closed. They closed it. They defunded it. And where did those people go? They became homeless or on the street, or the justice system in California didn't have a place for them. So the systems have failed the honest, law-abiding citizens.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you can never take anything away from the Camarillo outlets. To the people who live in that area, you know what I'm talking about. It's hands down one of the best outlets. And right outside of Thousand Oaks, Camarillo is now a much better facility. I'm sure there's still some crazy people there, but, I have a lot of memories of doing a lot of things in Camarillo. But, you're right when you think about that, right? There's levels of crazy, okay? So what if Trump is talking about he wants to reopen Alcatraz? Okay? Yeah. If he's talking about he wants to open up Alcatraz, I just don't think I want to put these guys in a crazy place. I don't think that's enough of a example to make. It needs to be an example for the guy that's flirting with being crazy to say, I am not wanting that to happen to me. What percentage is going to be like, you know what, I'm not doing this. Yeah. If it helps 30%, 40%, do it. If it helps those to say, I'm not willing to go to this level, do it. You put me in a mental institution, you're going to feed me for the rest of my life, give me a house with a roof over my head. You know what? All right, cool. That's not that bad. I'll go hang out with other crazies like myself. You understand where the thought process goes to.
But I'm not worried about that guy or how he feels. I'm worried about the person that he kills and their family. We have to stop putting ourselves in the criminal's shoes. Well, you have to understand he had a tough life. You have to understand his father wasn't there for him. He murdered a 7-year-old girl. He murdered a poor innocent woman. Why are we giving him the benefit of the doubt? The man is an absolute menace to society. This soft on crime nonsense is perplexing. Pat, what's the thing you always say that whatever the situation, genetics loads the gun, that your personality aims the gun, but then your life experiences pulled the trigger? Whatever it is. These people, you said 3 strikes, you're out. This guy's, how many times has he been in jail?
California 3 strikes law.
Yeah. How many times has he got? 14 times? This guy should have had the death penalty already. Oh, Adam, you're way too aggressive on crime.
Why are you screaming so much today?
So I'm just...
how much you've been screaming nonstop all day, and we're sitting right next to you on every story you're screaming.
And I'm the angry patriot.
Oh my God. I didn't realize. Sorry, Vinny.
But
at what point are we just going to say enough's enough with these freaking people?
Well, I'm just curious that how many arrests have to happen? Okay, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. 3 arrests where they're like, okay, he's
for
crazy.
What though?
Oh, what I'm saying, stealing,
for what?
Guns, all the crimes that he's done. Once you get to 5, it's like this guy cannot function in society. Okay, now, by the way, this was years ago. Now we know he's a schizophrenic. He's diagnosed. By the way, If my mother walked in here right now and talked to Pat and say, hey, Pat, listen, Vinny has multiple personality syndrome. One of these people that's living inside of him is violent. Don't hire him. I would expect Patrick to take my mother's advice and say, Vinny, I love you. You're great around my family. You're like my brother. I can't have you around because your mother, the person that knows you the best, says that you are freaking somebody else. So the fact that that happened and the court can't say, you know what, you're right, let's deal with this. 14 arrests, it's unbelievable. It's
listen, maybe this is a wrong time to bring this up, but your mother called me last night at 10 o'clock.
Hey, man.
You told me the truth.
Hey, I'm on the turn right now.
No, the issue in this case is the violent crime.
Sybil.
It's the violent crime coupled with the schizophrenia diagnosis. When I was a young lawyer at the firm I was at, we used to do these things called motions for confinement. You'd go to court and you would be basically involuntarily confining an individual who posed a risk to themselves or others. And some cases were clear-cut. Others were much more middle ground. But, you know, there are circumstances where someone just needs to be institutionalized, medicated, put on a regimen, made sure that they're following the regimen in order to be re-released into the public. The flip side risk of all of this is that you start bringing back mental institutions, using them as political weapons. We saw, you know, I'm from Montreal where we had the Allen Memorial. We had MK Ultra based out of Montreal. So you can see where the flip side risk of over-institutionalizing is. Declare every political rival mentally insane and institutionalize them is what communist regimes have done. There is a middle ground. The pendulum has clearly swung way too far to one side. Doesn't need to swing all the way back to the other. They need to be brought back. Violent, schizophrenic, mentally ill criminals need to be institutionalized, medicated, put on a regimen in order for them to be released into free society.
You ever see the show Always Sunny in Philadelphia? You know, they had this conversation. I don't want to make light of the situation, but this is sort of a humorous approach to what we're talking about right now. You ever see the show?
Oh, yeah.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia? There's a great scene right there where Frank Reynolds, Danny DeVito, you know, he was in a mental institution. He was institutionalized for having donkey brains. And his son, Dennis, and his daughter went to go see what the mental institution was like. And they go, why is this place closed? There's crazy people walking on the streets. And he goes, yeah, it's a lot of money to keep this open. They got to tax us more. And this is the scene. He goes, taxing us more? They already taxed us enough. I'm not paying any more taxes. She goes, I guess we're just going to let crazy people on the street. Crazy people on the street? We can't have crazy people on the street. We got to put them away. I guess we got to raise the taxes. I'm not getting my taxes raised. Enough's enough here. I guess we got to open a mental institution. And it goes back and forth and back and forth. Do you want taxes to take care of this? Do you want to take care of crazy people? This is the crazy part of this, is that there's no clear answer here. Do we want to tax people more? Do we want crazy people off the street? The reality is we want low taxes and no crazy people, but what's the solution?
Yeah. So, okay, we'll see. See what's going to happen. I'm going to get to the next story here. The president tweeted something yesterday that everybody online was reacting to. By the way, this tweet is so long. It may be his longest tweet, but I got to read it to you. And then we're going to go around and react to it. So, Rob, zoom in a little bit if you could. I have to put Mehran's favorite glasses on. Mehran, this is a shout out to you, buddy. I know you love these glasses. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon because they have one thing in common: low IQ. They're stupid people. They know it. Their families knows it. Why drop the families in it? Like,
why?
And everyone else knows it too. Look at the past. Look at their record. They don't have what it takes. They never did. They've all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited on TV because nobody cares about them. They're nut jobs, troublemakers, and will say anything necessary for some free and cheap publicity. And they think they get some clicks because they have third-rate podcasts, but nobody is talking about them, and their views are the opposite of MAGA, or I wouldn't have won the presidential election in a landslide. MAGA agrees with me and just gave CNN 100% approval rating of Trump, not flailing fools like Tucker Carlson, who couldn't even finish college. He was a broken man when he got fired from Fox. And he's never been the same. Perhaps he should see a good psychiatrist. I didn't go this far. Psychiatrist or Megyn Kelly, who nastily asked me the now famous only Rosie O'Donnell question, or crazy Candace Owens, who accuses the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she is not, and will hopefully win lots of money in the ongoing lawsuit. Actually, to me, the First Lady of France is far more beautiful.
He lost me right here.
What you said.
He lost. Yeah. He lost.
Far more beautiful than Candace. In fact, it's not even close. Or bankrupt Alex Jones, who says some of the dumbest things and lost his entire fortune, as he should have, for his horrendous attack on the families of Sandy Hook shooting victims. ridiculously claiming it was a hoax. These so-called pundits are losers, and they always will be. Now, fake Fox News, fake news CNN, the failing New York Times, and all of the other radical left news organizations are hailing them and giving them positive press for the first time in their lives. They're not MAGA. They're losers. They're just trying to latch onto MAGA. As president, I could get them on my side anytime I want to, but when they call, I don't return their calls because I'm too busy on world and country affairs. And after a few times, they go nasty, just like Marjorie Trader Brown. But I no longer care about that stuff. I only care about doing right for our country. MAGA is about winning and strength and is not allowing Iran to have nuclear weapons. MAGA is about making America great again. And these people have no idea how to do that, but I do, because the United States is now the hottest country anywhere in the world. President Donald J. Trump. Vinny.
I mean, because he's saying this out loud and somebody's typing it. I forgot who the girl was that sits there and just writes it. I mean, like, look, let's just be honest. Everything that's happening right now, we have to be fair. All these people at one point were hardcore Trump, supporting Trump, and then everything shifted. I think obviously we have to, say the elephant in the room. I think everything comes down to the Bibi Netanyahu Israel situation, where they've all don't like it. They don't like Trump even going anywhere near. By the way, he's saying all this to them, but then at the same token, he's praising Mark Levin, telling people go watch Mark Levin, which is another weird thing. But the one thing in here, Pat, that drove me crazy. I mean, it's kind of. This is Trump. When people are like, how could he? It's Donald Trump. He's gonna go after them. He's gonna go after their careers. He's gonna go after their family. When he's saying that Brigitte Macron is being wait, what was it? Can you scroll down a little bit, Rob?
More beautiful.
She's more beautiful woman than in fact, it's not even close. Made me laugh out loud. But I mean, this is it. This is when people say splintering the party. This is exactly what they're talking about. I mean, I've never seen something this long. It took me a while to read.
Me? Listen, he's saying what a lot of people are feeling. I think a lot of this comes down to the fact that Charlie Kirk is no longer with us. If Charlie was here, a lot of the craziness on the right would have been subdued. I think we need to understand the importance of Charlie Kirk, as he basically brought everyone together and he opened up the dialogue between everybody, debate between everybody, and he said, this is the limit. Was it called the Overton window? The Overton window was completely shifted. And now without Charlie, all the craziest things have now come to the forefront. It would be so easy. We've talked about this on the podcast. It's so easy to just basically say, well, I don't know what happened to Tucker. Candace is crazy. I don't know what happened with Megyn Kelly. Alex Jones. Like, I'm not even going to do that. What I would like to say is, we always talk about, Pat, who's in your ear. You, the listener out there, have a choice of who you consume. We get a lot of shout outs on Manect. Hey, I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Even some, you were wrong on this. Great. What I would say is be very careful for who you're listening to every single day. You know who I listen to more often now? People that have not switched up all of a sudden, like Tucker has. You know who I listen to? Glenn Beck. Incredible. You know who I think is absolutely incredible and does not get her flowers? Do you know Dana Lash? You know who that is? She used to be the NRA girl. She's incredible. I listened to her for hours on end. She's incredible. I encourage you guys to go listen to her. Makes sense. Ultra conservative. Brandon Tatum, Nick Mateau, even Mark Levin. You might not like him for whatever reason. Trump trusts him. So all these people who basically latched on to the MAGA movement, they're role players. They're not MAGA. Tucker, what did he say about Trump as soon as he left office? I despise the man. I can't wait for him to leave office. I'm generally not sure what happened to Candace. A lot of it, you said Bibi Netanyahu. The fact that we think that Bibi Netanyahu is controlling America is part of the problem. So they're allies of ours. Good for them. But let's just be very clear. Trump's in charge. All these people are second fiddle to Trump. Because we're in the podcast space, probably give these people a little bit more credibility than they deserve. And I would just encourage everybody out there to recognize who's in your ear. Are they opinions or are they actual news and facts?
I first of all preface this by saying we all want Trump and the administration to succeed. Period. Full stop.
Yes.
I make a distinction between destructive criticism and constructive criticism. There's no constructive criticism that could be made of that tweet. It's, I think the only people really defending it are a handful, and they will defend whatever Trump does, regardless of what Trump does. You said, Charlie Kirk was keeping the fringe elements of the right in line. I view it the other way. I think Charlie Kirk was a voice of reason in Trump's ear, and when that voice of reason was snuffed out, Kirk would have said, maybe hold off on that post for a little while. I view the post only from a question of logic. And
you're saying that Charlie Kirk would have held off Trump's post?
I think Charlie.
I'm going to object to that. Trump's been posting for 10 years craziness.
Well, no. Mean tweets are different than that tweet. That's a distinction.
That's a mean tweet to me.
No, that is a diatribe of what some will call a deranged tweet, and it contradicts itself.
So that's where you're going right now?
No,
it
was
deranged?
No.
That's where you're going with this?
I'm going with that nobody reads that post except for a handful of people and says that's a great post. Nobody does.
But is it true?
Well, how can it be true? In the same post, he says CNN gives me 100% approval, and CNN is fake news. I mean, how do you make those two statements?
CNN did do that. We covered that on
No, but first of all, but understand what I'm saying here. I've been saying for a little while, CNN coming out and saying Trump and MAGA has 100% approval. If you view that as a lens of fake news to convince Trump that what he's doing is pleasing MAGA, view CNN's statement as sabotage, not as truth, because it's not truth. And so once you view it that way, you have Trump saying, CNN is saying that I've got 100% support, when it quite clearly is not the case.
So what's your point? That Tucker has credibility, that Megyn Kelly hasn't switched up, that Candace hasn't gone off the rails?
Candace
is that what you're saying?
Candace has gone off the rails on certain issues. Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson.
Issues. The main issue is that she basically is trying to torpedo Charlie Kirk's legacy. That's the criticism.
But hold on, that's not.
She's doing documentaries about Eric.
That's
Kirk.
not Trump's presidency, Adam. What I'm talking about Trump's presidency.
You're saying I'm going right to the source. He's calling these people out. Are you defending these people? I'm asking you.
Am I defending these people? Do you think it's a good move to go after Alex Jones, who arguably but not arguably got Trump elected in 2016?
Well, I'll hear you. I'll hear you and say, do you think it's a good move for Alex Jones to go after Trump? Because he doesn't agree with one thing that Trump did.
The one thing that
if we're talking about Iran, Trump's been talking about taking out Iran for decades. And all of a sudden he does it, and it's a bad thing?
The one thing of a truth post in which Trump says a civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back.
He didn't do it.
Didn't do it is different than not putting that tweet out. When that post goes out, do I expect someone like Alex Jones, who has supported Trump the entire time, to maybe sound the bloody alarm to Trump? That's not a good post. Don't act. You don't get credit for not acting on that post. You should have not put that post out in the first place. And maybe it's the voices like Alex Jones that got Trump to take a step back. And say,
I hear you.
Maybe a civilization dying tonight, never to be brought back, is not a good thing for midterms and 2020.
Viva, I hear you and I respect you. The words that he says, you're smart enough to realize you can't go chasing all of Trump's words. You'll end up in the estate asylum we talked about in the last segment. Follow his actions. Trump's trying to make a deal here. In my opinion, when Trump did that, he's basically saying, pay attention to me, because something's about to happen in the next 24 hours. Because you know who moves the move cycle? One person, Donald Trump. None of these other people. So I'm trying to understand what your point is. That you're saying that Trump is bad for sending out a mean tweet? Genuinely.
Let's distinguish between a mean tweet and that truth post, which, if it doesn't ruffle feathers, but if it gets his most ardent supporters to say, time to take a step back. And if there's an 8 o'clock deadline, sorry, I'm not going to wait until tomorrow morning.
No, I hear you, Viva. So they've been criticizing Trump for a month now, if not longer. So you're saying that was the straw that broke the camel's back?
No, you're saying they've been criticizing him for a month over the same issues and an escalation on that issue. Now, by the way, when that post came out and everyone was like, he's just negotiating, it's the art of the deal.
What loyalty does Trump have to these people?
My analysis of that tweet was, it's not the art of a deal to make a threat in a tweet that you know that you can't follow through on. So he's coming out and saying, oh, civilization will end tonight, but I didn't do it, so that's the art of the deal. No, what I said at the time was he made a threat that he could not possibly follow through on. People knew it, and now it's arguable as to whether or not the 10-point plan or the 14-point plan, whatever, is actually a victory for Trump or a victory for Iran. It doesn't matter. The good thing that happened at the end of that, whether or not it was because of or despite the opposition from Alex Jones and Tucker Carlson, he stepped off the pedal a little bit, and now we are back in a world that is not on the verge of a cataclysmic World War III. You want to say that it had nothing to do with Alex Jones? We'll never know. Alex Jones voiced his concern, took a lot of shit for it, but ultimately Trump took his foot off the pedal, and now we're in a safer place than we would have been at 8 o'clock Tuesday night had he gone through with that.
Sure, I hear what you're saying. I'll just ask you one question. Who do you think has the most credibility? Who do you trust the most at this point with these decision makings?
There's no room for trust.
You trust
you can trust but verify.
You trust Tucker?
I listen to Tucker. I don't trust anybody except for a divine power.
Sure.
I'll listen.
But there's levels of trust.
No, I think there's trust is a bizarre word. Verify. I'll listen to Tucker Carlson. I'll disagree with him when he had on
trust is a weird word now.
Yeah, because you don't trust. Trust implies that you abandon critical thought.
There's levels of trust.
No, there's verify. So I don't trust anybody except for my wife. I don't trust anybody. So now listen.
Why would you even trust your wife at this point?
Because I've already dedicated my life to her. So if she defies,
did you verify that?
If she defies me, then my life is
now?
effectively over. There's no one else to whom I've dedicated my life except for a divine power. I haven't dedicated.
So you
to
don't
that.
trust anybody.
Okay.
I don't trust anybody. But bottom line, the trust. You listen to Tucker. I'll disagree with him when he says something crazy, like when he has on George Stephanopoulos' sister and says that the Christian population in Israel is declining. Outright wrong. Called him out at the time about it. I'll listen to Alex Jones. Disagree with him at sometimes. You cannot deny the influence that Alex Jones has now, was integral in Trump getting elected in 2016. And if you think it's a good, but then if you think it's a good idea, 6 months out of the midterm to do that, what would have been better?
I have
a
very different perspective, but than either one of you guys.
Well, I was going to ask you, what did you think of the post?
I'm going to get my thoughts, but I'm going to go to Tom first, and I'll give the final thoughts. Go ahead, Tom.
I'll make this quick. A lot has already been said. I remember one time getting really lectured by my dad, like really lectured. And he had been pushed over the edge, and he was going back and bringing up stuff that were months old. But I was his son, and I was guilty of a lot of that. And I said, Mom, what was that all about? And she said, you and your dad have had 2 really rough weeks, and he's really upset. Let him cool off. And that was really good advice. And I sit back here, and I see, I don't want to dissect the post, but there's a lot of people in there that have turned against him, and he's very frustrated by it. And he's looking for people, looking around, who are going to be telling him the truth. You don't think he's sitting around and questioning some of these military advisors that have told him some things? You don't think he's a little frustrated? And then the people put it on people looking at them. Well, they supported him, and now they're upset with him. So now they're saying these things. Look at the other way. He's like, they supported me, and now they're saying these things, and so I think it's some of this. I agree with you about constructive and destructive criticism, but I think some of this is he really got pushed, and he's really gotten pushed by some of these people, and that's what I think.
Yeah. So here's how I process this. I wrote this whole thing down while you guys are going back and forth to see where my mind is. Last night we're at the dinner. This tweet comes in. I'm reading it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, what just happened right now? So let's go through it. Number one, short-term, midterm, long-term. If we think about it short-term, if Trump's made up his mind that he's doing this and he's going with the war, with all the access to information that you got, you're going through it, you cannot be surprised if people are criticizing you. You're the man in the arena, okay? And you're not just any man in the arena. You're at the center of it, and everyone's eyes are on you, okay? So if I'm in this season and I'm him and he knows what he's going to be doing, you know how LeBron would do a blackout on Twitter when he was in the playoffs?
Yeah.
There was always a blackout on Twitter when you're in the playoffs. You're like, don't have any noise. I don't think he needs noise right now while he's in it. I think take the trusted advisors, limit it to 20 different people, ask what they're thinking. He needs moments like this, like what just happened right now. This was great to kind of hear people out and go through it and listen to reasonable players. And don't put a lot of time into the emotional people that you know are not going to support anything you do. Like if I have a track record with you and I know you've never supported me for anything I've said behind closed doors, I don't know Tucker and Trump's relationship. What I hear from a lot of people, Tucker's never liked Trump behind closed doors. Not in front of people, behind closed doors. You don't think Trump knows that? And I think in this case that he's in, he knows Megyn Kelly tried to come for him when she asked that question, and they went back and forth. And then it was great to see them on the 2024 when Megyn was up on stage and said good things about Trump. People wanted to see that. I thought it was a great moment in election. But I think if you're here and you've made up your mind, you're going through it, don't pay any attention to the noise. Go through your advisors and make the decision based on what your advisors and people are telling you. You're going to get natural criticism. And by the way, here's a tough part about decision-making. When I'm an operator and I'm running a company, there was a couple guys that behind closed doors were so freaking manipulatively critical about every move I made. You know what I realized? I realized I am never going to win them over. So their criticism had this much weight with me. Mm-hmm. Zero. I don't care what you say. Your credibility is here. Literally, I never listened to anything they said. Then there was a guy that was 50-50 with criticism that he would give. And he had moral authority because he was building a business. That guy carried weight. And then there was the ass kissers that you couldn't ever do wrong. I couldn't go to them all the time because they would never tell me the real thing because they always wanted to just tell you whatever you wanted to hear. Trump needs to not be tempted by these guys and by these guys. Both of them are dangerous to you. The guys that you will never, ever win over, you can't try to win them over. There is this element of a man like Trump, or all of us, that we want to win over the people that criticized us. We want to win them over. You're not going to.
Right.
So just let that go. And then there's the other part of guys that are they're constantly doing what? They're constantly firing you up. Like I remember I had a couple guys that would come to my office. Every time there was bad news, I would ask them, Tom, you'd remember this. I would say, hey, is there a reason why every time a crisis comes up, you go nuclear? We should fire him. We should terminate him. We should do this. I'm like, dude, I don't want to hear your voice anymore. So I stopped inviting them to my meetings. Then I would bring the guys to the meetings that would be like, nah, I don't think that we should do. I think they're just going through a season. Maybe what happened with their kids and what happened with their personal life. Let's pump the brakes. Let's give them a couple weeks and follow up with them and talk to them about a month. And I even say, let's take them out to dinner this week. So wait, one is saying terminate, the other one's saying take them out to dinner. What a different perspective, right? So you have to be careful of both of these audiences. The ass-kissing audience and the audience you're never going to win them over. They're part of the same exact political party within your organization. These are the reasonable people. Let's not get it twisted. People know where I stand. I'm from Iran. I was born and raised in Iran. I lived there for 11 years. I know what IRGC is like. I know how horrible it is for them. I feel so bad for the kids over there. I was a kid when the war happened, and it breaks my heart when I see some of these videos. My dad sent me stuff this morning of an Assyrian church, what it was like in an Armenian church. So my heart breaks, and I'd love to see Iran be free because I'd love to take my kids back to Iran to experience that because I grew up there. I want to go to Khiyaban Hojat, Park Shahanshahi, Bandar Pahlavi. I want to go to Rash. I want to go to Karaj where my dad worked. I want to go to these places, right? So that's my part. But guess what? Show me one video that Charlie Kirk wanted the Iran war to happen. He did not. So he did not. How many video clips have we seen where Charlie Kirk was at? He was never supportive of it. He says, tell me about this war, 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 tell me about this war. But you want me to believe that this is going to be the one that we're going to go out there and do? Okay. I understand that's Charlie's position as well, that we got to go through. That was Charlie. By the way, even that, as much as we all love Charlie, it doesn't mean Charlie's 100% right. So some people may have a different argument and access to intel that maybe he didn't have. But guess what? We need more voices like Charlie that are willing to give that insight. But my feedback to the president is this. When I sat there last night and I'm thinking about it, was the president ever in the military? No. Did he move up in the military like back in the days like Eisenhower and he became a general where he knows, he goes into a room and he talks to generals, he actually knows the terrain and all this stuff. Like, you know how we're talking about Mike or we're talking to Dan and Mike will say, whoa, in the Carrick Island, there's these things and there's this. How do you know? I've been there.
He's been there.
Okay, so when you talk to guys that have been there, so I foresee the president. Yesterday we had a conversation with Humberto and I said, hey, you're anti-war. He says, I am. Vinny, look what I asked him. I said, are you supportive of what happened in Venezuela? Well, I like the way it was done. I said, so you like how efficient it was? Yes. So that could have been a war if it wasn't efficient. Yeah. But you like the way that it was efficient? Yes. Do you like that we killed Qasem Soleimani? I supported. Do you support that we did the 6 nuclear sites that we shot down? Yeah, I support the operation. Why did you support it? Because they were successful.
Right.
What's the risk with any of these operations? What if Venezuela got nastier? What if Venezuela did something that was... So the only reason you don't support the Iranian attack is why? Why do you not support the Iranian attack? Because the Iranian attack was what? What happened to the Iranian war so far right now? Do you put a 0 to 10 successful? Do you put it that everything's going on as a positive right now?
No.
Do you put it as it's a little bit chaotic? So now watch this. Here's something for you guys. And I don't want to be long-winded. I'm just flushing out what I'm thinking about. What's on my mind is the following. Here's what I see. When you're somebody that's not a military person, that you become the commander-in-chief and you don't know the military things all yourself, and it's just trusting, you're in the room, you go like this. So imagine this, Trump. Visualize this. Tell me if this happened or not, okay? So General XYZ, Pete Hegseth, this thing that we do here with Venezuela, how long do you think it's going to take? Hey, Delta, how long do you think this is going to take? Sir, it's going to be a wham-bam operation. We're out. We're going to get it. Are you sure? Yes. How do you know that? Let me show you the intel. Boom, 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 boom. So you don't think it's going to be chaotic? No. Okay, green light, go. They go, they come back. What does Trump say? Oh, wow. Now who gained credibility?
That general.
That general and who else? Hexet and who else? The Delta Force that went in and did, or Navy SEALs. Okay, so hey, we need to go in there and 6 bombers and all this other stuff. Mr. President, we got it. It's going to be quick, wham, bam, we're going to drop it. It's going to be to, okay, great, go. And they go in, they come out, boom, no boots on the ground, no nothing. Guess what? Great. But now the question is what? Did we really go that deep that we hit the whole thing? I don't know. But Trump's trust in his military went here, and I visualize a meeting that took place with the generals in the room, and he asked, fellas, you know what the question is?
Yeah.
What's the question?
Can we win? Can we get in there? Do it how fast?
How fast can we go into Iran and get this thing knocked out of the way? And who do you think was in that meeting? Probably Bibi. That's the New York Times story.
Yeah.
And let me go through this, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Perfect
So
segue.
for me, that meeting took place.
Yep, you're right.
And in that meeting, here's the problem. That I feel his frustration. You know what the frustration I feel for him is the following. And I want you to tear apart my argument.
Go for it.
If you want to find anything that you find leaks, tear it apart, okay? I have a feeling in that moment he sat there and he's like, you're telling me this is going to be a quick operation? Yes, we're going to go in, we're going to wipe out the 50 leaders, and they're going to be so scared, they're going to come out and they're going to do this, and it's going to be done, and we're going to go in Venezuela, maybe a little bit tougher, but we need 2 to 4 weeks. Are you sure? Bibi's like, Mr. President, the intel we have with Mossad, we are scored away. This is going to be easier than we think. And then he says, so, okay, great. You think? Yes. Heck said yes. Are we all on the same? These guys are not. Fire those 3 generals. What did that person say? Hey, put the Tulsi outside. She can't be on the inside. So then the president in that moment, this is the burden of being a president. This is a hard job. Guess what the president did in that moment? Trusted who?
Bibi and the intelligence.
Trusted those people.
Yep.
I didn't say Bibi. Because you have the meeting with, see, that's the part that's a little bit manipulative when people say that, Vinny. I have a meeting with Bibi, I have a meeting with Putin, I have a meeting with Xi, and then I come back and I say, what do you think about what Bibi said? And I ask you, you're the final thought, not Bibi.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know if you know what I'm saying.
100%. Yeah.
This is Bibi. My next meeting is Rubio. What do you think?
Yeah.
So then Rubio says, Pat, we can't do 2 out of the 4. But at the end of the day, he called the shots. And what's the shots? All right. Because I would ask the question, what percentage do you think this is going to be a 2 to 4 week operation? Mr. President, 80%. And he called the shots. And then the 80% wasn't 80%. Why? One rule. And I said this to you yesterday. And here's a thing that people don't underestimate a lot. This is the biggest thing they underestimate a lot, Vinny. And I really didn't want to go on a 20-minute message with you guys, 10-minute, whatever I'm doing, so I want us to go to other stories. Is the following. One of the greatest quotes ever told in Formula One is, I knew I was going to beat him because he has wife and kids. I knew I was going to beat him because he had wife and kids. What's he trying to say? He's not going to go full speed on the turn. He's not going to go full throttle on the turn because he knows what the risk is of dying. And in that moment, it's like 1/10 of a second. This is the quote. Look at this. I knew he would hit the brakes because he is married and he has 2 children, and I don't. And I don't. Iran is that. The IRGC is a different religion than ours. They don't look at that the same way we do it. They don't look at the religion the way we do it. They look at it as this is a pride, IRGC, if I get killed. This is pride. My prophet's going to be happy with me. He's going to be pleased with me. So what happens when you face an enemy like that? You can't fight him in a Venezuela way because Venezuela is still a Catholic country. What do Catholics believe in? There is still that, you know how he took a shot at Christians today. He's like, I don't know how you guys would ever, if this guy accepted Jesus Christ. And it's like, it is a very logical argument for a person to say, you're right. What do you say to that? But that's what makes Christianity so beautiful. But in moments like this, Vinny, if I ever had a job like this, and if I'm going through an enemy that I believe he wants to kill my people, my hat, I'm not even kidding with you, in that moment, and I can go to hell for this, but I understand in that moment as the world leader, I have to take off the Christian hat for a month and be a warrior. If I truly believe you want to kill my people, I can't leave with that. So my impression of what's going on right now is I'm not surprised what Alex is doing. Alex hasn't always been a pro-Trump guy. He will criticize. I'm not surprised with Alex. I think Alex's voice is needed. You know, I think with Candace and Megyn, you know, I think Tucker's here, Candace is here, Megyn is here. Tucker's the influence of Megyn and Candace. Whatever Tucker says, Candace and Megyn will say. They're very aligned. That's their leader. They follow Tucker's lead. Tucker gives them counsel. They execute on Tucker. And maybe that's because Tucker's got aspirations. Maybe because they want to get behind Massey. Maybe there's stuff. You better believe alliances are being built right now for 2028. So I think there's something that's going on there with alliances. But the reality of it is, I think the president is in a very, very difficult position. And the only thing I'm going to tell the president is have a blackout with tweets until the war is over with. And I know it's not possible with him because that's not his style of doing business. Finish it off and then come back. You already chose to be here. If you kill 50 of them, if I kill 50 of your relatives and you're the last person remaining and I don't take you out, what do you think is going to happen long term?
Kids, and then they're going to...
So either don't go, great, but if you're in, now you don't want to do anything, retaliation's around the corner long term. So short term, yeah, ceasefire, oh, awesome, market's up. Short term, we're doing good. But is that the right thing long term? None of us will know for 10, 20, 30 years. None of us will know. Vinny.
Well, I mean, Pat, you laid it out so perfect. And I just sent this article today because I read it yesterday and I reread it again today. And you basically planned out, the article is called How Trump Took the U.S. to War with Iran. It's a New York Times article. And you basically laid out exactly what happened, but the ending was a little bit different. So Bibi showed up on February 11th, Pat, to the White House. Everybody was at the table except Vance. Vance was in Azerbaijan. Susie Wiles, Mark Rubio, Pete Hegseth, Witkoff, Kushner, everybody's there. They're all in the Situation Room. Bibi sits across from him. Mossad, the Prime Minister, David Barna, he's the director of Mossad, is sitting there. And then they're trying to sell or pitch, you know, because obviously Israel wants, you know, they want to get down with Iran. So they played a video. Israeli played a video of Trump that did a montage, Pat, of potential leaders who could take over the country if a hardline government fell. Among them was Reza Pahlavi. So automatically, Pat, right there, I'm just like, okay, that's not realistic. He lives in Bethesda, Maryland. He's not going anywhere. So besides the Mossad's intelligence, Netanyahu's team outlined conditions that portrayed near certain victory. Iran's ballistic missile program could be destroyed in a few weeks. The regime would be so weakened that it could not choke off the Strait of Hormuz. That didn't plan out. And the likelihood that Iran would land blows to U.S. interests in neighboring countries that would assess as minimal. Besides, Mossad's intelligence indicated street protests in Iran would begin again with the impetus of Israeli spy agency helping to foment riots and rebellion. Okay? And then all that happened. And then, oh, by the way, they said Kurdish fighters would cross the border from Iraq to open the ground front in northwest, furthering stretching the regime's forces, accelerating its collapse. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The intelligence officials had a deep expertise. So now, first they said decapitation, kill the Ayatollah. Second part was crippling Iran's capability to project power and threaten its neighbors. 2. Third was a popular uprising inside Iran. And the fourth was a regime change with the secular leadership. Now, Radcliffe.
Read it again.
Okay.
Read the 4.
First, okay, decapitation, killing an Ayatollah.
Yep.
Second, crippling Iran's capacity to project power and threaten its neighbors. 2. Okay. Third was a popular uprising inside Iran.
Okay.
And fourth was a regime change with a secular leader installed to govern the country. Okay, so now the U.S. officials, Radcliffe and everybody in the meeting, Pat, they assessed all of them, and they said that the number 3 and number 4 of Netanyahu's pitch, which include the possibility of the Kurds, were, ready for this, detached from reality. When President Trump joined the meeting, you nailed it perfect. Bibi leaves. He sits with CIA director, and you know what Radcliffe said? It's farcical, meaning it's not possible of what Bibi said for 3 and 4. And then at one point, Marco Rubio said, and they're quoting him, in other words, it's BS. He says the word BS. And then Radcliffe added that given the unpredictability of events in any conflict, regime change could happen, but it could not be considered as an achievable objective. And then Vance came back, Pat, from Azerbaijan. He had his 2 cents. And then the president turned to General Raisin Kane, who is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And he said, General, what do you think? And this is what the general said. And I quote.
I read this.
Ready for this, Tommy? Sir, I love that you said it, Pat. He's going to his people. He said, in my expertise, standard operating procedure for the Israelis. They oversell, and their plans do not always are well developed. They know they need us, and that's why they are hard selling. So, and then when he said the regime change, Pat, would be, Trump said it would be their problem, but he wasn't clear if it was Israel or the Iranian people. So I love your point, but think about it. Bibi's gone, and now he's asking his people, hey, what do you think, Rubio? It's BS, number 3 and 4. What do you think, General, 4-star General? It's not possible. CIA director, what do you think? All 3 of his main people, Pat said, number 3 and number 4 are not going to happen, which is happening right now in real time.
Correct. There was no popular uprising.
There's no popular uprising.
Go into it.
Yeah.
Go into it, Vinny.
Okay, ready for this?
3 and 4 didn't happen.
No popular uprising inside Iran, Pat. And 4th was regime change with a secular leader installed in the government. Now, Bibi got what he wanted. So my point is, why not listen to the 3 main people when they're saying, yo, number 1 and 2, easy. We bombed them and we killed the Ayatollah. Easy money. 3 and 4 are the major problem that's for the people. And as we found out, the Kurds took the guns and they bounced. They didn't help. They're not
and
doing
they weren't planning a ground invasion.
And
they
so
were not going to hurt.
So
they were not going to help.
So you feel like, and I understand, and again, I'm going to go back to a great point. That meeting happened. Bibi walked out. Mossad, they shut the video off. And now it's, all right, listen, 4 objectives, 2 easy money. The last 2, which to me are the most important. The people need the uprising. It's not happening. It didn't happen. We can't.
Unarmed people didn't uprise.
Unarmed people. So that's where, Pat, I say either it's influence or you're not listening to your people when they're telling you the main 2 points are unachievable.
Also, when you've sort of de facto excluded some of the dissenting or critical voices like Tulsi Gabbard, it's nice to hear the voices of people that you've insulated with in your silo. Pat, one thing you mentioned, and it's interesting, when, the yes men and the remorseless critics who can never be trusted. And, I have the thought, like, don't be tempted by the yes men and don't be taunted by the critics. But also don't lock yourself in a silo where you're sort of limiting the voices that you hear.
Yeah. I don't think he is, though.
I'm concerned that he is. When you say, like, he should black out on social media, I also sort of, I like the fact that Trump is on social media, that he seems to listen.
No. Let me correct myself on that. Blackout on social media of criticizing your critics until this is over with.
Okay.
Do all the other stuff, but don't criticize your critics until it's over with.
Good point.
At the end, make your point. Not right now. Leave this alone right now.
Good. Yeah, that's perfect. And the issue is whether or not they thought this would be like Venezuela. A lot of the righteous criticism of this particular excursion is that it lacked the clear objectives that Venezuela had. Venezuela, you could argue over methods, but not over objective. Here, the objective was crippling or, eliminating the nuclear threat. Then it was ballistic missiles, then drones. Then it was regime change. Then it was freeing the Iranian people. So the issue with Iran is twofold, and it is legitimate criticism. It lacked the clear objective that Venezuela had, and it had a clear objective. You could argue over the means, but not over the objective. As of now, it's still been a floating objective for the last month.
So I want to understand one thing. Who made the final decision here? Are we talking about the war in Iran? That's what this conversation is about. So I want to understand something. Who made the final decision?
The president of the United States always makes
the
final
commander-in-chief.
After, hold on, Adam. After the Secretary of State, his 4-star general, the head of the CIA said, yo, what he just said, those past 2 points, are BS and unachievable. And yes, the president ultimately makes the decision. Why, when you just heard 50% of the operation was going to be kaputs? Why would you still do it? If they basically told you, the main, what's the easiest thing, Adam? Kill the Ayatollah, which they did in 1 day. And then number 2, what was the second objective? Bomb the hell out of them and get rid of all the...
And by the way, Kane is more than a 4-star general. He is the chairman of the Joint
Chiefs of Staff. They call him Raisin Kane.
So when they turn general, what do you think? He's asking for the opinion, which is supposed to represent the opinion of the other leaders of the other parts of the armed forces.
So I want to understand this clearly.
Go ahead. I'll help.
Didn't this process work out exactly how we would want this to work out as Americans?
Right now?
Well, no, the conversation.
Well, we didn't know about this until recently. No, we didn't know about these internal discussions.
So hear me out here for a second.
Yeah.
We have a big podcast meeting.
Yeah.
There's how many people in that room over there? 5 people? There's 20 people in the podcast meeting. Cool, guys. What are the ideas for the podcast? All right, cool. Engineers, studio out. Now it's just a home team. All right, cool, guys. Here we go. There's 5 of us, 6 of us. What do we want to do? It's like we do our business dinners. Cool. All right, guys, out of here. All right. Now it's just 4 of us. Home team. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Then you and me leave. Tom and PBD have a conversation. All right, cool. Then PBD, at the end of the night, goes and talks to Jen. All right, babe. Here's what I think is going on. Adam says he wants to do this. Obviously, Vinny wants to do that. Tom's thinking this. Rob's saying that. He's filtering out the team of rivals, essentially, to say, here's what I think we're going to do. So at the end of the day, he's got his cabinet. But prior to that, he has, whether you said it's Bibi, whether it's Mossad, whether it's whoever's working, external forces. Yep. The external people leave. Now it's your internal people, Rubio, Vance, General Kane. They leave, and then it's just Trump and maybe Melania. And he says, babe, I think I'm going to attack Iran this weekend. Oh, my God, why? Why we do? Well, I've talked to everybody, and here's what I've come up with. Isn't that how we want our decision-making to be made?
I didn't say it wasn't going to be made, but you know what? I would not want somebody else coming in from another company and sitting with Pat and saying, trust me, X, Y, and Z.
I don't see a problem with that.
Hold on, no, I don't. I do see a problem with that because guess what?
Because you know that.
Hold on. Adam, do you genuinely think that Bibi thought they were going to be able to do the regime change? It's Adam, are you ready for this? If Tom told Pat, ready for this? Pat, sir, in my experience, standard operating procedure for this other company, the Israelis, they oversell their plans and they're not well developed. They need us and they're hard selling.
Perfect.
That's a company thing.
So where are you going, Tom?
Yes, let him go. He's
my bad.
He's getting emotional.
I didn't want to offend him.
Go ahead.
But I love this. I love this, and I'll tell you why.
Go ahead, tell me.
Because you know exactly where they stand. When Trump goes and meets with Putin, he knows that he's Russia first. When he goes and meets with Xi, he knows that he's China first. When he goes and meets with Bibi, he knows that he's Israel first. Don't be fooled. I actually appreciate that. So I'll give you one more example. Tell me if you agree with this, Pat. You want to go out this weekend. Let's just say hypothetically. You come to each of us. I go, Vinny, you're going to come out with me, bro. We're going to go out. We're going to have the best time ever. We're going to go to 11 in Miami. We're going to have the time of our lives. You go, okay, typical Adam. You go to Tom. We're going to do something corny. We're going to play golf. We're going to do whatever. All right, cool. You're going to go with Pat, do some family time. You know what each of us stand for. So when I say, dude, Vinny, come with me. You're going to have a time of your life. We're going to go to 11. We're going to go to live. We're going to party in Miami. Are you caught off guard? Or is that exactly what I'm known for? So it's up to you saying, I could go with Tom. I could go with Adam. I could go with Pat. Let me just go with Pat. My point is, I think Trump filtered down all this information and made the best decision possible.
Yeah. So what are you saying? You're saying somebody else made the decision for him?
No.
Or?
I think Trump made it, but I'm asking you, if you were the president and, well, P. Hegseth apparently didn't say anything in regard to this. If you're head of CIA, a 4-star general, your director, all these people, Marco Rubio says everything, those two plans, those two major parts of this major mission are BS, they're farcical, and this is what Israel does, and that's what
Good.
Hold on.
Call them out.
No, my question is,
I'm asking him.
what would you, with that information, because those two are the major points of this war, would you still have gone in?
Would I have?
Would you, as the president, would you, if they're telling you this?
I maybe trust Bibi less than the president trusts.
100%.
Yeah.
But then why wouldn't he listen to the main? To me, Pat, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
You don't know, but you don't know because of side conversations that maybe he had with Gulf states to say that the Gulf states have him. You don't know if he knows that he already had to talk with MBS to know MBS has him. You don't know if he's doing this because he knows he's going to corner China because he's already taken Venezuela away from China. He's already taken Panama away from China. This is one way of getting China cornered to flip the power, and all of a sudden everyone's going to sit there and say, what a freaking thing to do. You don't know any of this stuff.
I don't.
Because you don't know the fact that he lost a ruling on Supreme Court 6-3 on tariffs, and power went the other way, and this is his one way of saying, hey, you think now you have leverage? You don't know. Maybe somebody in China on a phone call said, hey, you don't have that control you do anymore. Oh, really? I'm going to make your life a living hell. You don't know what those, you're not in the 100%. Man's mind. All I'm saying is, this out of everybody that's talking shit, there's only one man that's in the arena. It's him.
Yep.
Period. That's the guy that's in the arena. You can say whatever you want about the guy. All the pressure's on him, and he's handled it better than any other person in America.
Yeah.
Period. No matter how tough and smart and brilliant, and I would have done this and I would have done that, stop it. Go win an election.
True.
Go be the president.
Right.
Go get shot. Go be the most hated man in media from the moment you announce, and you were the most beloved by rappers, Hollywood, everybody, and all of a sudden they hate you because you decide to run as a Republican. Go. And then what? And then what? So you forget about all the other stuff that this guy's done. Let me finish. You forget about all the other stuff that he's done with the borders, you forget about all the other stuff that he did when he came in. All of a sudden, you're going to forget about all that stuff? No. So, but to me, the feedback to Trump from you would be simple. Sometimes in life, you can't be surprised by, what some of the people are saying. Just play along and move on. And Viva, I'm going to give you the last thoughts. We're going to go to Melania's tweet, and then we're going to wrap up. Go for it.
Well, all of this subject to the accuracy of the article. It's the New York Times and should be treated with circumspection.
Go ahead.
The issue is when it comes down to what was the decision and who should have made what decision. This article was only published recently. I think when Adam says this is the way it should work, this is the internal debate. Recall at the time, however, the people that were raising the concerns now that are being reported that were raised by Marco Rubio and Kane, the people who were raising those publicly were getting called black pillars, doom pillars, anti-Trumpers. And so the discussion is good, the debate is good, and that's how it should be treated in the public arena. Not writing off people as ideological adversaries because they are now offering they were offering the same criticism that we're now allegedly learning was being offered internally. And then the question when you say, all right, he deals with Bibi knowing Bibi's Israel first. You might not be making the best argument you think you're making there if at the end of the day the voice that he's listening to is Israel first. And I'm not accusing him of doing that. I'm saying these were the issues that everyone said made this a quagmire from the get-go. And when people said it publicly then, they got lambasted, but now we're learning that internally they were having the same discussions as well.
But again, you have to again go to that. I am not part of I told you should have listened to me. No, I shouldn't have listened to you. No one has access to more information than the guy does. Everybody else is reacting to second, third, fourth, fifth information that's coming to us. Okay, the feedback is a feedback that's being given. He has to make the decision. But the part that when you make the decision, you can't be surprised by the criticism. Yeah. You can't. You're not supposed to get 100% support. You're not. And if you get it wrong, we're going to lose the midterms. And that's part of how this thing works. It's Conor McGregor, after one of the losses that he had, I think it was to Nate Diaz, I don't know which one it was, he says, so how do you feel about this? He says, look, I'm cocky with my predictions. I'm confident in my preparation, but I'm humble in my victory or loss. Okay, Here, are we confident in our preparation? Maybe, maybe not. And maybe that's going to be leaked. And by the way, the way history books work, when Bush wrote the book, what did he call, what was Bush's book called? Do you remember?
Decision Points.
Decision Points. You know what he talks about in there? He talks about the mistakes he made. Now, I don't think Trump's going to talk about the mistakes that he made. I don't think that's going to be the case. But presidents make mistakes and presidents make decisions. That's part of life. The rest of the world who is not in the arena will criticize nonstop. Everybody wants to criticize Brady. Everybody wants to criticize Michael. Everybody wants to criticize Trump. Everybody wants to criticize winners. Get in the damn arena. Yeah. And if you're going to be a person that's criticizing, we need the press. Press is necessary. That is doing what they're doing because people need to hear from somebody else. And the president does need to get called out. The president does need to be disagreed with from the press standpoint. But let's not get it twisted. You don't have all the information. I'm not coming for final.
I was just going to ask you a question.
I want to go past it. What's the question?
I think it's appropriate because you're talking about man in the arena. I remember when you started the podcast.
Yeah.
And everyone said to you, don't do politics, Pat.
Yeah.
Don't do politics.
Yeah.
And don't do it. You're an entrepreneur. Yeah. And you were doing it on Valuetainment. And we started doing the podcast, first couple episodes on Valuetainment. Yeah. And we were losing subscribers. You said, all right, I'm going to make this decision. We're going to do PBD podcast. We're going to do politics. And look at us now. How many people told you, don't do it, Pat? And then how much criticism are you getting? I can't believe you said that. But you've tuned out the noise and look at us now.
There's a big difference. No, we're just a podcast, buddy.
No, I understand. But how many people told you not to do this?
We're not that important.
I'm not saying that. But in our world,
I get that.
We're grateful you did this.
I get that. But what I'm saying to you is this is like podcast, and then there is 100 stories above being the president. I understand that we have a voice today, and I'm grateful to you that you tune in. Even to those that disagree with us. Trust me, I love it. I'm grateful for all of you guys that tune in, including the critics. We need the criticism. Trust me. We need the criticism from the true, honest players, not from the bots. I saw something the other day that I want to share with you, and I think I want to challenge more people to do this. I posted a picture on X the other day, and this picture I posted on X, and Rob, it's none of the ones that I sent you, because I'll play that here in a minute. Please don't disclose the stuff I've been texting and keep it to yourself. But I appreciate it, Rob. So the other day, I'm on X, and I post a picture of my family on X. And I'm like, all right, that's the picture right there. And in that picture, Rob, I hope I can text this to you. I'm just going to text it to you the way I've been doing it the entire time. There's a comment that comes up. Some of the comments are pretty brutal, but guess what? That comes with the territory. I get it. You know, people, well, you did this, you did that. No problem. One of the comments that came up was the following, Rob, if you want to pull it up. And this is the part that we have a problem. This week, Twitter's been doing what's the word when they're getting rid of fake bots and all that?
Cleanse?
So now, what's another word they use? Purge. Bingo, purge. And so watch this here, Rob. Pause it a little bit. So, you know, this is me with my family. Read the comment of the second guy, 3 hours.
You took them to a synagogue for Jewish terrorist training. Really but ugly kids. Every one of these kids is going to be C-word. If we are lucky, one is going to
Okay, so now how does your emotions, how does your heart feel right now? How does your temperament feel to see somebody could comment like that, right?
It's disgusting.
But you have to realize you can't get emotional about this. Press the play. Here's the first thing I do. If somebody says something like that, and this guy says, you are disgusting. I don't know who the other person is, but says, you are disgusting. I'll pause it right here.
Look at that.
When did his account get started?
April 2026. 0 followers.
Boom.
Manchester, but that location is not necessarily accurate. You got to see where the account is.
But you know what the point is? Bots are influencing a lot of people.
Yeah.
Bots are so effective right now, Vinny. But even though we're going through this, and this is going to be the new norm, for me on X, I'm muting a lot of people, and I'm blocking a lot of people. I have a very basic thing. If you speak to me respectfully, I'll have a banter with you, no problem. You disrespect, you're blocked. I don't do the disrespecting game with anybody on X. So, but going to where we're at right now, I want to get to the last story here that we have with Melania. In the middle of all this stuff, one of the top, it may even be the #1 trending story that we have right now, Rob, is Melania Trump posts this video, and everybody reacts to it on the relationship with Epstein. I don't know which one it is, Rob, if you want to play it. Is this the one?
Yep.
Go ahead. Here's the First Lady talking about Epstein. Go ahead.
I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time, since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell. My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note. I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in a detail in my book, Melania. The first time I crossed paths with Epstein was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together. At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge of his criminal undertakings. Numerous fake images and statements about Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe. These images and stories are completely false.
Okay, Vinny.
It's just weird. The timing of it is just really weird. I remember President Trump was standing outside Air Force One. Howard Lutnick was next to him. If I believe J.D. Vance, and he said, and I quote, "I don't understand why Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. Only pretty bad people want to keep something like that going." And then cut to his wife coming out and saying Epstein was not alone and we must uncover the truth. What is actually going on? And then the president said, they told MS Now on Thursday, he did not know anything about the First Lady Melania Trump's statement about Epstein, which I find that very, very hard to believe. I don't think the first lady would have a statement like this prepared, come out and not tell her husband, who is the commander-in-chief of the country. I don't know. I was so baffled by this. It was out of nowhere. And then the statement by the survivors, Rob, do you have that? The statement by the survivors in response to Melania Trump is, survivors of Jeffrey Epstein have already shown extraordinary courage by coming forward, filing reports, and giving testimony. Asking more of them now is a deflection of responsibility, not justice. The First Lady Melania Trump is now shifting the burden onto survivors under politicized conditions that protect those with power. The Department of Justice, law enforcement, prosecutors, and the Trump administration, which has still not fully complied with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. It also diverts attention from Pam Bondi, who must answer for withheld files and the exposure of survivors' identities. Those failures continue to put lives at risk while shielding enablers. Okay, survivors have done their part. Now it's time for those in power to do theirs. I think it's random. And the timing of this, Pam Bondi, gets fired, and then a week later she's supposed to testify. Now she doesn't have to because she's not in. Pat, you said this a long time ago, and I absolutely loved it, and I've hung on to it. The biggest fumble, it just, the way that they ruined this thing, the moment those social media people came out with the binders and there was nothing in it, it was all redacted. It's like the biggest cover-up scandal, and this is going to bother me, Pat, besides the war and everything, and we can criticize and do all that. This is one of the biggest mistakes, the biggest fumbles, and I'm embarrassed that they're treating it like this.
Adam.
You always hear, Trump started this war in Iran to cover up for Epstein. It was a distraction. Really, bro? You're going to move billions of assets to cover this up? To me, I think the Democrats, I've said this before, the Democrats have way more explaining to do than Trump will ever have. The attorney generals who have been there forever, Bill Barr, who was there, been there through multiple administrations, what's going on here. But the piece of this that I think is going to get overlooked is exactly what she said here. She said, I've never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time. Since overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. What's the point of that? We get invited to a lot of cool parties. We've been to Mar-a-Lago. I've been to the White House. I've been to all these cool events, going to Miami, Art Basel. You're in the same room with some of the biggest people, biggest names. Just because you're in the same room as people or know people doesn't put you guilty of anything. This is why I said the whole Epstein thing isn't a right thing, isn't a left thing. It's a high society thing. Every single person who went to Epstein's island or went to Epstein's compound was a who's who of who's who. I don't know what happened there, and I don't even think anybody really truly knows what happened. But we know that these people, it's beyond left or right or anything political. It's all money.
But my question is, why do you think that, why, out of all the stuff that's happening in the world, ceasefire, war, why would the First Lady come out, Adam, and say Epstein was not alone? Her husband's saying one thing. She's saying he wasn't alone. Several prominent male executives resigned from their powerful positions after this matter became widely politicized. Of course, it doesn't amount to guilt, but we still must work openly and transparently to uncover the truth. That sounds to me like her husband, the president, is like, it's all nonsense, don't listen to it. And she's saying, no, he's not alone. This disgusting pedophile demon had a bunch of people, and they're still out there, and the Congress and everybody should still go after him. Why do you think this ran out of, why right now?
Well, the Epstein rollout has been the biggest unforced error of Trump's term, without a doubt, hands down. Trump obviously got convinced by some players that releasing the Epstein files would incriminate him or involve him in some way, because he was probably being told by the same corrupt, incompetent Pam Bondi that I'd been saying should be fired from July, that, oh, Donald, your name is in there thousands of times. Everyone's going to say that you're involved because your name's in there, so we have to cover this up. And he, not that he's a fool, he followed that bad advice, and now Pam Bondi's out. In that entire time, because of the bungled disclosure, it looked like Trump was involved, even though everything that came out of there actually exonerated Trump and incriminated Michael Wolff, other people who were conspiring with Epstein. It allowed for the rumors that Melania was introduced to Trump by Epstein. That was the result of the bungled disclosure. Bondi's out, and now Melania can finally come out and say, without contradicting her husband, because now she can say this is on Bondi and her fault. I had to experience rumors that Epstein introduced me because of this bungled rollout. I never knew him. Bondi's out. Now I can say not my truth, but the truth. And the consequences have already been dished out to Bondi. Too little, too late, and the damage is done. But now Melania can come out and confirm what basically we all already knew. But I think she's been unshackled to do it because Bondi's been fired, and now that's where the blame can be laid.
I feel for Melania. I'll tell you why I feel for Melania. She's not an elected official. She wasn't like editor of Vogue magazine. She wasn't like a power player executive in the world of fashion. She married Donald Trump, and then she's caught up in this way, and somebody somewhere felt that she needed to come out and make a statement. Maybe it's what you said. Maybe that's the waterfall of it. I'm kind of with Vinny on one simple thing. Why send her out to do it like this, and why send her out right now? And that just, to me, I understand if it's like, okay, that's it. I got to say something. I've sat with Pat when he's talked about exactly the things he was describing. You got the people over here, Tom, they piss you off, but we got to ignore them. And they got the ones who are, Pat, you need to defend yourself. They're saying, no, Tom, I can't make everybody happy. I've got the people that want to kiss my ass. I got the people in the middle that I can work with. And I got these people over here that I'm never going to win over. There's 24,000 insurance agents and all these other people out there. What am I supposed to do here? And I learned a lot through that. And through this, it's like, why send her out right now? Mm-hmm. Why do it right now?
Well, it was intentional. It's not like she accidentally showed up and stumbled out of bed and said,
I actually think it's a great timing. I actually think it's a great timing. If she was ever going to do it, I think this is the time to do it in the middle of an Iranian war. I think it's a great timing. Just come and get it knocked out of the way, address the issue, move on, and we're probably attacking Iran tomorrow, and we're back to more news with Iran. I don't think this Iran thing is going to go away, but look, this is part of becoming a president and becoming famous and being the most powerful person in the world. Everything you do, you're walking on eggshells. And no one's professionally trained for this level of scrutiny. They're going to go through it. Anything you did in the past is going to come back out. Anything you did in the past is going to come back out when you get into politics. Anything. Whoever you partied with. Thank God Instagram wasn't around when I was 22 years old, 21 years old. Like, if they find some of those sketches from Dublin's or... Palace
Sunset?
or Arena or Key Club or what was the other one?
White Lotus?
No, not White Lotus. White Lotus was good, but there was one. What was the main one? The main one was
Panama City.
No, Panama City Club La Vila. That was but that time the videos were out already with
Which
the hard
club
body
are you
contest.
talking about?
What the hell was the name? This was the club to go to.
On
The
Sunset?
ratios for girl was 2-1. It was on Sunset. You had to make a left. What the hell was the name of this club? Not Key Club. It was. Guys are commenting in the comments. I guarantee you they know what it is. If you're from LA, you know which one I'm talking about. That was tough to get into. Anyways, it was a very, very. I guarantee someone's going to text me right now or message me right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, look, I'm glad that wasn't wrong. But let me finish it up with this here while we're going through this. If somebody comments in the comment section, I will be so impressed.
On Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood?
I saw Ibiza. Ibiza? That's
not Ibiza.
No,
it was
no.
a club's name. Was something else. What the hell was a club's name? Anyways, okay. So, anyways, having said that, today's a very special day in my life. Let me tell you why it's a special day in my life. Because today is Papa's birthday.
Oh, Papa
Gabriel.
Wow.
Gabriel today turned 84 years old.
Oh, my God.
What the heck?
And let me tell you why I posted this
Look
picture.
at that.
I send this picture to my dad. I'm like, Dad, this guy just texted me. He's telling me he's a brother you never told me about.
You're so
my dad's
funny,
like,
Pat.
What are you talking about? I said, Dad, why the hell aren't you telling me everything about our family rumors? He says, what the hell are you saying? He says, this is not my brother. I said, I just met him.
He didn't recognize
you guys
that was
are
you?
friends. He told me he's your brother. This is when AI was making people. He is now angry with me. You think I'm going to lie to you about having another brother?
It, Papa.
I said, how did you not introduce me to my uncle? And then
He didn't realize that was you?
He didn't realize it was
Papa
me.
Gabriel, happy birthday.
This is
Come
the
on.
part about AI, but that's me to the left. I said, Dad, I said, make me look 83 years old. And I look like my dad. I said, listen, if I was your age, this is what I would look
Pat,
like.
you got your wish, man. Your shaved head.
Yeah,
I love that look.
84 years old. Go to the next picture, man. With this man here, the family loves him. Brooklyn this morning got up, saw Papa, ran up to him, gave him a kiss. Happy birthday to you, Papa. Yesterday's like, tomorrow's Papa's birthday. Tomorrow's Papa's birthday. Look at the smile on his face. Best part of life when your dad is that happy. Keep going.
I've never seen him smile that big. Can we go back to that picture, by the way?
Yeah.
I've never seen your
you're
dad
about
smile
to
like
see
that.
a bigger smile than that. Keep going.
I love the girl putting a cake on
Brooklyn.
her
That's Brooklyn. This is us at an
Seagull's
event a few
hair,
years ago with Andrew Gaines in the back with the perfect haircut. Keep going. By the way, go to the left. I think that's Matt Sapalo's shoe that made it.
It
He
is.
didn't make
It
it,
is.
but his shoe made it. Right
And his
there.
earpiece.
Keep going. Keep
And his
going to the
earpiece.
right. This is us when the president came, when we did the podcast. Tico had the old
the hair.
heavy metal hair. Keep going. By the way, this is the legendary picture.
Wow.
This is the only vacation my mom and dad ever took us to.
Wow.
And this is Esfahan. For the people that hear about the city Esfahan, this is Esfahan. This is
That's
me.
you?
That's me, my dad, and my sister.
Is that a thermometer?
This is 1988, 1987, something like that is where it's at, where we're visiting Esfahan with Pops. Keep going. This is us when we had our event, July 17, 2009. The event was called Saving America, Doing the Impossible. Keep going. By the way, this is an interesting picture.
Reza
I've been very
Pahlavi was
critical
at your
of it.
house?
Reza Pahlavi came to the house. We had
Wow.
lunch together, and my dad got a chance because
Look at that.
my dad is a massive fan of that family.
Is he
So-
really?
oh, it's an understatement. Massive fan of the family, the entire Reza Pahlavi
And that was
family.
his first time that Papa ever met Reza Pahlavi, right there.
I think that's the first time he met him. That
Wow.
wasn't the first time we had met each other, but it's the first time he met him.
But Papa,
Oh, yeah. That was the first time.
was
yeah.
he ecstatic?
Of course. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. This is my dad's smile. Look at that
Smile.
smile. To the ladies
good.
with this one. Keep
Yeah.
going. This is him in front
Look
of
at
God
him.
knows how many people at MGM Grand Arena, 10,000 people in 2022. In the middle of COVID, we were the first ones that opened up a year before that,
Yeah,
up on stage with the mic. Keep going. Him in Brooklyn. Keep
Oh
going,
my
Rob.
God.
This is him doing his exercise in the morning,
Varzesh.
Rob. Look at this.
And they're all like,
80-something years old. He's got to move his body.
Look at him.
Keep it going, Rob.
He's in good shape,
Keep
man.
it going. Keep it going. This is the boys with the papa. Daddy.
You had just
keep
moved to
going.
the house then, I think.
This
at
is
that
probably
point.
a couple years out.
Look at this guy.
This is
Pat, you look ecstatic here, man.
Pat, what's the picture on the wall? What is that?
That's
Is that like Ben-Hur?
Jesus. No,
Is
that's
that
actually
Mashiach the
Jim
movie? Oh,
Mashiach.
okay.
Yes, you know what that is.
Yeah.
This is me, military, when I came on break to surprise him as a specialist. Keep going. Very serious. This is my dad. Kiss me, I'm a Syrian. Right?
Look at the phone. Look at the
That's
age
right.
of that phone.
Keep it going. Keep it going. This is us in New Orleans. I told the joke to my dad that he didn't like, and I'm laughing, and he doesn't think it's funny, but he has to laugh. We were having a little bit too much fun that day. Keep it going. This is, you said brown shirt and brown pants.
Yeah.
I was so offended, I had to bring the picture to show the time
You
when
look
I
good.
wore brown leather pants, and this is the club days with the black.
And what is Papa, the Easter Bunny here? What's
Papa's
going
just
on here?
hanging out, and then keep going. Let's
Some
do a couple
workouts.
more. This is the day I got promoted to broker, December 15th of
Nice.
03, Queen Mary Ballroom. Keep going.
Proud Papa.
More Papa. Keep going. And I think that's the last one. Anyways, Dad, wherever you are, you're watching us at the house. I love you. You've changed my life. I'm proud to call you my dad every single day. And the greatest gift God gave me as a child was making you my dad. He chose you intentionally on purpose. And I am the man who I am today because of you. Every friend I have loves you. You know what's crazy? I have friends that became enemies who still love you. They don't like me, but they love you. My dad is a very interesting guy. He's got a massive community of people that love him. On his Instagram account, Rob, have you seen what he's been working on his Instagram
Quilting,
account?
Egypt.
By the way, you know what? He would love it if you guys, as a gift, go on his Instagram account, follow him, and post a comment. He makes these quilts nonstop. Some of you guys, you know.
Look at this guy.
He makes these quilts.
He's,
Just put the link below. He works, hours and hours in his 80s making this stuff. And if you want to make his day, go send him a message. Go post a comment on some of this stuff.
Gabreal Bet-David.
What's his account, Rob? Is it Gabriel42?
Yep.
Just post a link below if you guys can go do that.
You know,
He would love that.
that's the first thing. When I first came here to visit, I was just, Pat said, just get an airplane, come here and just see the vibe. There's no comedy, there's no nothing. And I sat with Gabriel and he showed me this and he's like, you have to have a hobby. He's like, besides your work and your brain, get your hobby. And there's two moments, Pat, where I'm sitting there and me and you are speaking Assyrian and he's looking at me and he says in Assyrian, he's like, God put you. He's like, the odds of you guys sitting here speaking Assyrian, he's made me a better person. Stop cussing. Do this. Talk about God and everything. He's amazing. And that Rabba Givayet. I had to say that to Gabriel.
Anyways,
what I'm saying.
Pop, we love you. Thank you. Everybody else that's watching this year, Viva, great work today having you on. We love having you on.
Thank you for having me.
You're phenomenal at what you do. Your voice is very reasonable, and you'll give what's on your mind, which is always great to hear. Gang, have a great weekend. We will do this again on Monday.
Subscribe.
Vinny?
I mean, they should. I would say they should subscribe.
I would say they should subscribe.
What's the percentage? What's the percentage of people?
51%.
51% of you aren't subscribed. Take 2 seconds. Hit it.
But also, let's give Papa Gabriel a follow, guys. It's his birthday.
Yeah, get up there to
84 years
5,000.
old.
Get a kick out of this.
84?
I love you, Gabriel. Happy birthday.
Happy
God is
birthday,
good.
Papa
Take
G.
care,
We love
everybody.
you.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.